All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Chang podcast, episode 25, featuring Matthew, aka Matt, aka MienPanda. Matt, thank you so much for hanging out with us. I appreciate you and your time.
No problem.
All right, fellas. So on the top right, you guys can see the panel, episode 25. On the bottom right, you could see both of our Instagram usernames, so feel free to drop us a follow. There's going to be two commands to note from this podcast. Exclamation podcast to get a better understanding of why I do these podcasts. And in short, it's just a way for me to get to know the other person, the homie, on a more personal level. So it's like a life podcast in a sense. Aside from that, there's exclamation guest. If you guys haven't already, please drop a follow onto Matt's Twitch channel because he also streams.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, sure. Let's go. Let's get started. All right, Matt, welcome. Let's talk about a little about yourself. Explain some of your hobbies and your interests. Give us a good overview.
Hobbies and interests. Well, really, I'm just into basketball, volleyball, and video games. Like, I'm a pretty simple person. Um, like, those are the things I've just grown up doing. Volleyball, not all my life, but like basketball and video games is like all my life is. That's all I know, kind of. Uh, like with video games, it started off on Counter-Strike Source and Killer Instinct on the Super Nintendo, like all the way back. Basketball, I started maybe in like the third, fourth grade, and that's when I fell in love with the sport. And then volleyball, I started sophomore year in high school, summer of sophomore year, and that's when like I started enjoying volleyball a lot. With hobbies, that's basically, I do like cooking too. That's just like a side thing I like to do for fun. Um, I'm not that good, but I'm not bad at it either.
Sure. How would you describe your personality?
Personality, I'm very introverted, but all my life, like I said, I just know how to step out my comfort zone. Um, I'm very shy until you get to know me, but uh, like all my life, I've done like student council, ASB, clubs, um, like sports, and all those kind of stuff. And like I've always had to step out my comfort zone, and I learned how to do it while still like being an introvert at the same time.
All right, so you said you're more introverted. Gotcha. All right, let's talk about your background. So let's start from the very beginning, like where you were born, what life was like for you as a child, ethnicity, and all that. And you could just kind of summarize what you went through, other than like sports and gamings throughout your childhood. And then I'll ask you
Uh,
specific questions after.
yeah. So I was born and raised in Sacramento, California. Is in NorCal. Uh, my family didn't grow up with much money, if I'm being real. We lived in we lived with other family members all our lives. When we did live alone with our own family, it was apartment, like two bedrooms. Um, lived in like the area all my life. Like still to this day, we make the best of what we got. Uh,
Mhm.
I did live on my own. I moved to Chico, California for about 2 years. Um, I was living with, there were like people I knew already, but basically they were roommates or housemates. Um, and then some personal things happened, and I had to
Mhm.
come back, and now I'm back with my family, taking care of my family, trying to help take care of my family and stuff like that. Um, that's basically it for where I grew up and stuff.
How about what's your ethnicity and do you have like siblings too?
Oh, okay. My ethnicity, I am Mien. That explains my name, MienPanda. It is weird that people call me Mien, but I've gotten used to it since being on Twitch. Mien, if you don't know, we're a very small, not a very small population, but we are a small population. Um, we originated from China as a small group, migrated to Southeast Asia, like in the 50s, I believe, and got misplaced during the Vietnam War and migrated to the States after that. So most Mien people resonate in the States, Vietnam, Laos, or Thailand. Uh, I do have siblings. I have a sister and a brother. My brother is 8, and my sister is 24 at the moment. Yeah, 24.
Whoa, wow. That's quite the gap for
Big
your
gap,
brother.
big gap. Yeah.
So what's your relationship like with your siblings and your parents?
Uh, if I'm being real, I don't talk much with anyone in my family. Like I kind of just mind my own business until they ask me like if they need something from me or they need me to do something. That's basically it. Or if I need something from them, that's most of my talk. I do hang out with my brother pretty often, just because he's younger and like he's like the main reason why I kind of wanted to come back because I felt like he kind of needed somebody more there for him because like for me, I'm the oldest, so like, and my dad isn't from here, so I had to do a lot of stuff on my own, like learning where, like, my own path and what I want to do and stuff. I had to learn on my own, which was it's pretty tough, you know.
Mhm.
So like, being here from a brother, I feel like would be pretty nice.
Yeah. How about as a kid then? Your relationship with your parents and maybe like sister.
Uh, I mean, me and my sister, we definitely get along. We just don't talk as
Hmm.
much. But we do get along very well. We just don't talk. With my parents, it's the same thing. Like we just never really talked like that. I don't know why or anything.
Hmm.
It's just one of those things where like didn't talk unless they needed something from me.
Yeah. So Chris had a question in chat. He asked, "Is Mien a subset of like Hmong people?"
No, they are very similar but very different at the same time.
So since you never had a really close relationship with your parents, how did they handle discipline when you were a child acting up?
Disciplines. Literally I just got whoopings. I just got whooped if I ever did something I wasn't supposed to.
Got any interesting stories to tell us?
Not really. It's really nothing crazy. Like I really would just get beat.
Hmm. Just with
But like,
anything?
yeah. But I mean, like, I was never like that bad of a kid. But like, the occasional coming home too late. Um, Mostly just coming home too late because I was very good friends with like the people in my neighborhood. So like, we would just stay outside,
Hmm.
or other than that, I was a pretty good kid growing up.
So let's talk a little bit about the area you grew up in. What's the diversity in city like?
So I grew up in Sacramento. Um, Very diverse here. I grew up in a neighborhood that was very diverse, mostly Asians, blacks, and Mexicans,
Hmm.
and Russians. That was mostly it. But like, it wasn't like the best area. But like where we're from, it's like if it's just all about respect. You respect each other, nothing will happen, and people look out for each other no matter what still. But it just wasn't the best area to be in.
Yeah. Okay. So we could kind of talk about more of your childhood, but specifically in regards to school too. So let's
Uh-huh.
start with like a good rundown of what happened during your elementary years.
Elementary years, for me, it was most of my elementary years, it was just me going to school and going back home. My parents didn't really want me outside yet, or like as much. They didn't feel like it was safe because of where we were. So mostly it was just me going to school, coming back home. Um, Especially elementary days, is I would just I would get dropped off at school, walk home, because my dad would be the one working.
Mm-hmm.
Um, my mom would sometimes work too, but she would usually get home by the time I'm out of school. But we only had one car as a family, so I would walk home after school, and that went on until I want to say the fifth grade, which is all my elementary years, because in middle school, my middle school was sixth grade to eighth grade.
Okay.
But as regards of elementary, that was it. It wasn't very interesting. I was a part of like I was a part of like a lot of school stuff though, like student council, and like mathletes. I was that kid.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the only really big thing I remember about being elementary school was we went to a what do you call it, like a retirement home, and we sang Christmas carols to them. That's all I can remember.
It's awesome.
um, I was part of my fourth grade basketball team. I do remember that. I don't remember that we were very good, but I was on the team, and we um, now to this day, my brother goes to the school I went to now, because we still live fairly in the same area, but not exactly in the same area. And the teachers that are still there, that when I was there, actually still remember me, because
Mm-hmm.
from what I know, I was one of like the top students. Like nothing to brag about, but uh, like they like I would always be the person to just you know do my work and be a good kid, good student.
Yeah.
And that's about it for my elementary years.
So you're saying you were great academically and you were involved as a kid with
Yes,
school.
very,
Okay.
very.
Any significant memories other than the retirement home one from elementary?
Uh, Not really, to be honest. I do remember. I don't know why I remember this, but in second grade and third grade, there was this girl. Every time we went on uh like field trips, and we always had needed a partner. I don't know why, but she would pick me. I mean, probably know why, but she would pick me, right? And she would hold my hand the whole field trip. I was so confused as a kid. I didn't know what the fuck was going on.
Got it. Matt started young. Nice, nice. All right. So let's transition to middle school. So give us a good
Uh,
overview of that.
Middle school is when I say my life got pretty interesting. Uh, Middle school, I didn't. This is when me and my friends started riding bikes to school and bikes back home. So sixth grade, I was in a chess club. Uh, I was in mathletes, and I didn't try out for basketball that year yet. At least I don't think I did. Not that I remember. But we would play basketball every day though after school at the park, and we would ride bikes to school, home. Um, like I remember waking up in the morning, riding my bike to my friend's house because it was on the way, and then we would ride our bikes to our other friend's house, and then we would ride our bikes to school all together.
Mm-hmm.
That would basically be for my like sixth grade year. My seventh grade year, that's when I started getting really into basketball. Um, I started getting into photography that year too. I remember because I got into the yearbook, and for some reason, that like just started. It made me really interested in taking pictures.
Yeah, middle school.
Um, yeah. Um, and this is when, so I was in the student council still, like all of that, like all my life I was in like student council type stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then that's when my basketball, like my love for basketball really, really started. Um, what else? Seventh grade, I started making a lot of friends, like friends during school, outside of school. We would hang out all the time. And then like this is when I started like being outside more. Um, I we would just be outside at the park, at school, after school, in the back of the school, just hanging out. Uh, and then eighth grade is when I made the basketball team. Uh, still riding bikes, still riding bikes from school to school. Um, basketball team. I started some games. I didn't start some games, but I was like small forward, power forward position. I didn't really. I was still learning basketball at this time. Like very learning a lot still about basketball. All I knew was rebound the ball and shoot the ball. Literally, like that's all I really knew. Um, so during middle school, in eighth grade, so we didn't have basketball practice until like an hour after school ended. So this, all I remember is we would after school hang out for a bit, go to uh, Carl's Jr. because it was down the street, and we would. Some of us would have money, some of us wouldn't. We would put in our money, get a few chicken sandwiches, eat, and then go back to basketball practice.
Mm-hmm.
Like the worst diet ever, but we didn't know better.
Yeah, the memories, man. So that was middle school basically for you?
Yeah, that was basically middle school, just a lot of basketball, a lot of just hanging out with friends.
Mm-hmm.
Um, bikes were like our life. Oh,
Yeah.
and then towards the end of my eighth grade, I did move, which basically I started having to ride the bus home, like the public bus,
Mm-hmm.
which was kind of scary at first because I didn't know how to ride a bus. I didn't know how to get on a bus.
Yeah.
Uh, so I had to start riding the bus home to school, and I had to take two buses because I had to take one bus to a certain place and then another bus to go towards my house.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, that was about it for my middle school year.
Awesome.
Academically still good. Not
Yeah,
as good as I used to be, but I am academically still good.
for sure, for sure. All right, let's talk about high school, and then I'll ask you specific questions.
High school is where it gets interesting. I'm not gonna lie.
Mm-hmm.
Um, eighth, ninth grade, I had to go to a school with none of my close friends, like none of the people I hung out with, because I had moved.
I
So
see.
none of the people I hung out with really went to my school. I knew a couple people that were a year older than me, because when I was in seventh grade, they were eighth graders at my school. So I knew a couple people older than me, but it felt weird. So a lot of times I was like that loner. Sometimes I would hang out with people, but like I was pretty quiet. Sometimes I just sit alone, hang out, just chill. I didn't really get involved in anything yet, like at all, just because I was like super nervous and all that. And I couldn't even, like, I wanted to try out for basketball, but I couldn't make it to tryouts and practices and stuff ninth grade.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, my ninth grade was like legit. Um, nothing. Like nothing happened ninth grade. Only thing I really do remember, he one of my homies, he noticed that I didn't really know too many people, so um, he was a homie. He was older than me, but like like I was a shy person, so he noticed that I would be by myself pretty often. So he would like tell me to come and hang out with his friends and stuff, and like I would just sit around with them. Didn't really talk still,
Hmm.
but like he just didn't want me to like be by myself type stuff. And the only thing is the only sad thing, he was a great person and stuff. He did pass away like during while we were in high school. So that was the only thing that kind of really sucks. Like he was an amazing person.
Wow.
Uh,
Hmm.
yeah, so that's it basically from my freshman. I do remember almost failing English class because I hated writing.
Hmm.
That's about it for ninth grade.
What happened to your friend?
Um, I can't remember if it was the year after my sophomore year or my junior year exactly. It was really he was just in a bad spot, bad place, wrong place at the wrong time.
Okay.
From what I remember, it was just a drive-by.
Fortunate.
Yeah. So going into sophomore year, this is where I started getting more involved. I
Hmm.
joined our class class board team or however you call it. I don't remember exactly what position I was, but like the positions didn't really matter. I also started joining clubs. I made the JV basketball team, um, and then I also was doing spring conditioning for football, but I never played. I never actually joined the football team and then I did make the basketball team. Um, yeah. Other than that, it was just a lot of ASB stuff. If you know what ASB is, which is basically like the student council stuff. Still,
Yeah.
um, we would have to get. We would do a lot. I would do a lot of stuff. Like we had zero period, which started at like 7 for us
Hmm.
because we had ASB zero period because we our advisor just wanted to get stuff done early in the morning for some reason. She had the most energy. I don't know what it was, but she had so much energy. So we would get there like 7 a.m. And there'd be times where my JV coach, basketball coach, wanted practice in the mornings also. So sometimes I would have to get there at 7, do some stuff for ASB, go to basketball practice. This was the worst because I had PE first period, uh, and it's my sophomore year. So I would basketball practice, all sweaty, zero first period PE, more sweaty, and then go on about my day. Like now that I think about it, that is so nasty. That is so nasty. Um, but yeah, this is when I started getting so much involved. Like there was even I can't remember if it was my sophomore or junior year, but there was a day where we had so much work to do. We had so much work to do because of like homecoming and so much events for for our school that there was one time I got home at 12 in the morning in high school from school. It's like and then I remember just being at school all day every day sophomore year because I also had seventh period which was study hall because we had to make sure our grades were right for sports.
Hmm.
Um, so it's just school all day, extracurricular activities. Um, that's sophomore year for you right there. And then leading on to junior year is when I stopped playing. Oh wait, yeah, I stopped playing basketball. Um, I tried out, but I got cut. Um, and then I joined volleyball, and I was also on the dance team. I was in the dance crew at the school. I did choir. I was vice president of Mien Club. I was vice president of my class. Um, I did flag football. Um, let's see. I start actually like first year playing volleyball. I actually got to start. I was a starter. I wasn't very good yet because I just started the summer right before junior year, but
Mm-hmm.
like I knew what I was doing. So, and like in the area we are, volleyball isn't like the the biggest sport for us, you know.
Yeah.
So we didn't have much people, and also like we didn't really have tall people. I was probably like the third tallest, and I'm only like 5'11", 5'10", 5'10", 5'11", and our tallest person was maybe like 6'3". And I remember, if you know, I'm not sure if you do know, but there's a school. Um, what was that school called? Let me check that for you real quick, because there's a school we played, and they were full of like tall white boys. Like the shortest person was probably my height. Um,
In what city? Like just NorCal?
it's in Sacramento, but then it was like close. It wasn't like in Sacramento, Sacramento. It was mm, Folsom High School, and
Okay.
they were just, and then I just remember like getting demolished. They were like just bigger than us and better, so we just couldn't even do much. But like in our own division, in our own league, we were like third or fourth in our division, so it wasn't too bad. We just missed playoffs, I think, my junior year.
Yeah, junior
Um,
year.
yeah, and then when it comes to senior year, I had quit the dance crew. Volleyball basically took over my life. Um, and then I was vice president of ASB, which is vice president of the school. I was vice president of our class still. I was president of Mien Club. I was still doing choir. Um, and I did I say I was still doing flag football. Um, so when it comes to this, vice when I was vice president of the school, they kind of held me accountable of a lot of stuff. So um, I had to do like a lot of stuff. I had to leave class all the time, and then I also so the Sacramento Unified School District, they had a student board, and I was marketing chair of the student board. So I had my own little cubicle at the center of Sacramento Unified School District. That was my first ever paid job. Also,
Oh, nice. Okay.
yeah, we would, and so with school, that's basically it. Like just sports, extracurricular activities.
Yeah.
Uh, Other than at school during high school, every day at the park basketball every day.
Mm-hmm.
Every day at when I wasn't staying after school, I was at the park basketball, literally.
Awesome. Now let me ask you specific questions.
Yeah.
So, okay, how about for high school, your academics? When you're juggling everything, how'd you perform?
Um, it wasn't the best, but it was still good. Better than average, like A's, B's, and C's.
Mm-hmm.
I remember failing one class, which was pre-calculus. I was clueless in that class. Clueless, bro.
In
Clueless.
pre-cal?
Yes,
Okay,
I didn't know what was
interesting.
going on. But other than that, yeah, all my grades were great. I always got my stuff done. It was just that pre-cal class
Mm-hmm.
that really, really messed me up. I even took 3 years of Spanish. I don't remember any Spanish, but I took 3 years of it.
Hmm. Okay, let's talk about what would you say your school stereotype was in high school? What were you known as?
uh, as everybody would say, I was the popular kid.
All right, we're gonna get back to that. We're gonna talk about that. Okay.
So like I was never really a part of a group of people, because you know how
Uh-huh.
like in high school there's groups of people like for groups of friends. I was never really a part of one group. I was very I was friendly with everybody. So like some days I would hang out with these guys, some days I would hang out with these guys.
Hmm.
Some days I'll hang out with the people I played sports with. Sometimes I'll play with the people I play hang out with the people I played basketball with. Other than that, there's a lot of times where I had to take like I couldn't even I would get my food at lunch and have to go to a classroom because I had meetings. I always had
Yeah.
meetings. There was even some days where I had to leave school at lunch because I had the student board stuff. So either I was just hanging around saying hi to everybody, or in classrooms, or at the Cerner Center,
Hmm.
which is the Unified School District place.
For sure. Okay. So more specifics. Let's talk about the dancing first.
Uh,
So how'd you decide to get into that, and what was the experience like?
so I was only in there for 1 year.
Hmm.
Um, I was a person that always just wanted to try new things, get involved and stuff like that. And I had some friends that was like, "Yeah, you want to join a dance team? Come try out." Ended up making it, tried out. Um, the experience was weird just because I was never really a dancer before that. I just learned like right on the spot, basically just hip hop choreography. Um, was I ever good? I don't think so. But yeah, it's just experiencing things, experiencing life, and getting involved. So
Yeah.
just decided to try it out.
I'm gonna ask you this for everything you were involved with, but what would you say your favorite memory was from that dance club?
That dance club. Um, let's see. Uh, honestly, if I tell you, this is gonna be actually most of my answers for everything you asked me specifically for my sports and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
is that I was always underestimated because of my look and how my size was. So I was
Yeah.
always very active, but like I was always pretty of a big person,
Mm-hmm.
but I was very active. So it's basically gonna be like the broad answer to most of it is that I was always underestimated. But I other than that, I made some really good friends, like some mentor, like some dance mentors that are like very nice, and the dance community in general is like they're very friendly.
Yeah. Speaking of like size, how would you describe your size in comparison to everyone since you were like a kid up until high school?
I was always taller than majority of the people.
Mm-hmm.
Like in middle school, I was already 5'8".
I
I was
see.
5'8" in middle school, and high school I didn't grow any taller than what I am now, which is like 5'10", 5'11".
Mm-hmm.
Um, some days, some days I can measure 6 feet, so who knows what my real height is. Um, but I was always on the like the heftier side, just because I didn't have a good diet and I didn't really like exercise like that. But like I was always active,
Mm-hmm.
so I was always just big and active. So like I said, it's just people very underestimated me.
Got it. Okay, how about for choir?
For choir, what would the question be?
Like how your experience was with choir and how
Oh,
did you decide to get into it and the memories?
so choir, it was with so it was hosted by the head of. They were originally a church choir. So they decided to make a club out of it at school, and I decided to join just because I've always loved to sing for fun. Like I never thought I was good, of course, but I would join for fun, and they actually really liked me in there, so I decided to stay and just come every time I can. Um, they even invited me to join their choir outside of the school, so I decided to go here and there. Um, I ended up being like kind of one of the, I wouldn't say a lead, but like kind of a lead at the same time. Because I stood out
Mm-hmm.
vocal wise.
Yeah. Okay. And speaking of choir, you got songs prepared for us at the end, right?
At the end, yes.
Yeah, yeah. How many?
We're gonna do three because you asked for three.
There you go. Okay. How about for chess? Are you any good at chess, or what was it like?
I used to be okay. Like I just back in chess, I actually learned how to play chess back when I joined that chess club. I joined to learn how to play actually. Um, so I learned how to play. I learned strategies, all that type of stuff. I started getting pretty good, and then I just like after middle school, I didn't really play like that anymore, to be honest. So yeah, chess is just like one of those things I play for fun.
Yeah.
And the thing is too is like not a lot of people know how to play chess. I realized that.
Mm-hmm. Okay, how about for the Mien Club? How did that start, and what was like your role as the president?
So for Mien Club, so so with Mien Club, it's like kind of a small thing, and then with our whole school district, there is this thing. Uh, I can't remember the exact name for it, but like it would basically be all the Mien clubs meeting up together.
Mm-hmm.
Other people that's not Mien could come and basically learn about the culture of Mien people. It was like they basically just called it like a Mien conference.
Yeah.
So once a year we would do that. Throughout the year, it was basically a lot of fundraising, so we could go to things like that and then go on like a field trip at the end of the year. Um, for me, I would basically be in charge of getting our fundraiser things like during a food fair, help book and order our food for the food fair, or like we would sell chocolates, help get the chocolates and give it to certain people in our club to help sell it. Um, I didn't really get to do too much just because I was like a person they just go to if they needed anything specifically.
Mm-hmm.
My vice president did a lot of work because I had a lot of other stuff going on with like ASB and sports and stuff. So they would just come to me if they actually like needed something specifically.
Yeah.
For the most part.
So what's like the overall goal or purpose of having a Mien Club?
Uh, Honestly, I would say it was just to get me and people together, or like get people that want to learn about our culture together,
Mm-hmm.
and then after that, getting together with the big group of people, which would be the Mia conference, and like getting people to go to that and learning about our culture.
I see. Okay. Okay, so how about flag football? What got you interested in joining, and what was the experience like, along with the memories?
With flag football, it was more of part of our Hmong Club. Uh, so Hmong, I don't know too much about Hmong, but it's very similar to Mian people. But Hmong Club, they have this very like big culture of sports, like Hmong New Year. They um they play like sports and stuff. So this was basically a smaller version of that, where Hmong clubs around the Sacramento area would get their flag football team and play against each other. And like basically it was a way for them to fundraise while that's happening and just us to play flag football. And they just recruited like a bunch of people and they asked me to play, so I played.
Hmm.
And then I ended up playing that for 2 years, and then I got recruited by one of the bigger Hmong football teams and played at like Hmong New Year's and stuff.
Any favorite memories from that? Maybe any sick plays and stuff you've done?
Uh, just I wasn't very easily. They weren't easy to because I played a lot of D line, defensive linemen, and I wasn't very easily stopped. And I just remember that for the 2 years out in high school, we were like one of the better teams. Like we won like majority of those flag football tournaments. Um, we had like trophies and stuff, which the captain kept.
Hmm. So, in your opinion, in regards to flag football, how easy is it to get hurt?
Very, just because like it's not you wouldn't think it's a very aggressive sport, but people do get aggressive. Like some people play kind of dirty, or
Hmm.
like it's still very physical. Like you still like put your hands on each other, you still push each other. Um, one wrong step, one wrong turn, you accidentally, instead of pushing, you accidentally hit somebody at the wrong spots, or like sometimes you just like some of the fields would like have potholes and you accidentally step in a pothole. So people got hurt pretty often, like not torn ankles, twisted ankles, and
Oof.
stuff like that. Or like, yeah, that's basically most of the time. It's just like ankle stuff because of the fields or like just wrong turns. Other than that, it's just like people kind of like playing dirty sometimes. But like
Hmm.
you can't really call people out on it without evidence.
Yeah, dang, that's tough.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's transition to photography.
hmm
So, how do you find a passion for that, and what have you done so far, like experience with photography?
Um, for me, I've never. I just like taking pictures. I never got really like into it too much, but like for me, it's a lot of. I really like views. I like sightseeing.
Yeah.
So like I enjoy hikes because at like the end of a hike is like a good view or a good waterfall and stuff like that. It's just nice to see with your own eyes
Hmm.
and to take a picture of it and just like share it with the world and stuff like that is what really got me into for like into like photography, even though I never got big into it like taking pictures professionally or anything, but I like to do it for fun and like going sightseeing and stuff like that.
Do you have a favorite picture that you've taken?
That I've taken personally,
Yes.
um I have a picture of the Yosemite waterfall
Hmm.
just because that hike, I remember that hike. I kind of like legit like my body like kind of died. That hike was the
That type
hardest
of
hike
hike.
I've ever done.
Hmm.
Hardest hike I've ever done. I think it was 14 miles up, 14 miles down, or yeah, something like that, or 7 miles up, 7 miles down,
It
or
was a
14.
one-way hike.
Yeah, 14 is up and down.
Uh.
And we were just going up the whole time, and I was in the worst shape of my life.
Hmm.
When I did this, I don't know who convinced me to do it. Worst shape of my life, and I did it. All I can say is that I did it though. You
Yeah.
know, um, that I did it, that picture that I took of that waterfall
Mm-hmm.
really like just reminds me of that, even though I wasn't in the best shape of my life, it took a lot of time because how slow I was moving because I was like dead, but I did it.
Yeah. Okay, so that was photography. Let's talk about volleyball.
Mhm.
So, volleyball, why'd you get into that? And tell us about your overall experience.
Uh, this is another example of me just wanting to get involved and trying new stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So summer of my sophomore year, going into junior year, I met some friends and they were like volleyball players, and they would play at the park that I played basketball at. I They would play volleyball also. So sometimes they would invite me and be like, "Hey, you want to play volleyball?" Even though I didn't even know how to play volleyball, I didn't know the rules to volleyball. I didn't I didn't know nothing, but they, experiences. So I was like, "All right, I'm gonna try," and they just taught me the ropes, and I actually ended up being pretty solid. Ended up trying out for the team that year, my junior year, made the team. Still had a lot to learn. All I knew at that point was
Mm-hmm.
to block the ball when they hit and hit the ball down. And again, it's like a lot of people don't see it coming from me because of how I looked and very underestimated. So that was kind of nice. To always underestimate people is always kind of nice when it happens.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Coming senior year, um, I was me and another guy. We were like the same height and we were the tallest people. Um, at this point, I played two positions, or three positions technically. I played middle blocker, right side hitter, and basically a second setter when our first setter couldn't set. Um, that's the only reason I played on the right side because that's where the setter plays. Like they'll set the ball usually.
Mm-hmm.
Um, our junior year, we did way better than my senior year just because of skill difference. We had less people, and we had like less height. All that kind of played in a factor. But it was still fun. It was basically just a good experience playing on a team, getting to start. Being Getting to be a big part of a team was kind of nice too. I also played a lot, not a lot, but I played a few outdoor tournaments, like grass volleyball.
Yeah.
Um, they were like tournaments. Basically, like I said, for experience, we just went out there to played. We never really did very well, but like we always won like one or two games, and then that's about it for volleyball. I After high school, I kind of like stopped playing.
Mm-hmm. What was your best position for volleyball and your favorite memory?
Um, I liked playing that right side hitter, just cause, like I said, I enjoyed setting also. So like when I had the chance, I could set. But that right side hitter is um was my comfortable spot because I was at during my senior year. Do you play volleyball, Wilson, at all?
Uh, Only a little, but not
Okay,
as
so
much as
like
you.
so like during my senior year, I was actually able to hit the 10-foot line. So like my favorite memory was one time this team you know like like they didn't see it coming, but like I hit it straight down at that 10-foot line. And it was kind of a good feeling.
Dang. Beast. Okay, so that's volleyball. All right. Best for last. Let's talk about basketball.
Basketball,
Your passion.
man.
How did you find the passion for it? And just talk about your whole experience with that?
Basketball, basketball was just that thing that like was escape from the real world kind of thing. Like all my life, basketball was there for me. Um, like if I didn't want to be at home, I'd be at the park playing basketball. I played basketball. I made the best eighth grade. We were basketball. Like I think winning, being in eighth grade, I joined a team and we were a winning team. We came second place in our whole division, and after playoffs, we were second place, and that just made me like enjoy basketball so much because of winning. And I think that's where my competitiveness came from too, because like now it's like when I do anything, like it kind of sucks, but like when I do anything now, I kind of want to just win. Like it's hard to just play things to play. It's kind of hard to play things to have fun. It's like I've gotten to the mindset of winning.
Nice.
Um, and then even like all my high school years, even though I didn't play for this, only played for the school 1 year. I I was at the park playing basketball. That's where I had the most fun because it was just me and my friends playing at the park all day until the sun came down. Walked home and then repeat. Go to school, go to the park, play basketball. Like it was just it was just an escape from doing anything I didn't want to be anywhere else but playing basketball.
Yeah. What was your favorite position to play, and what's your best skill in basketball?
Uh, I do enjoy playing the forward, so like the power forward position, and I was always known as a shooter. Like there was a point where when I was in my prime, I was shooting like deep shots, like Steph Curry before Steph Curry.
Mm-hmm.
Like I would just like shoot that ball.
Dang, shooter.
hmm Other than that, I played a lot of inside defense. You know, like did my job rebounding,
Mm-hmm.
inside defense, all that. And then on the offensive side, I would be able to stretch the floor, um, and just shoot the ball when I had to.
Speaking of that, I saw your TikTok video. We're gonna talk about that later. So it really helps me get the feel of how you're underestimated and you could shoot.
Mhm.
Gotcha, gotcha. Okay, so let's talk a little bit more about basketball. You mentioned to me earlier that you're a Sac fan, right?
I am a Kings fan. My hometown, Sacramento. It is kind of tough being one, but it is what it is. Still fan, still love it. But I am a NBA fan first. Like,
Yeah.
I'm realistic.
Who would you say is the like all-time best Kings player ever?
All time best Kings player ever. That's a tough one because it's like we have like Oscar Robertson. But like I feel like the person that made the biggest impact to the Sacramento Kings was like Chris Webber in the 2000s, that
Mm,
2000s era. I feel
yep.
like he made the biggest impact to the team.
Got it, got it. Wait, when did you start watching? Which season?
Like that's like around when that happened, like the 2000s, the 2001. That's when I started watching, but I didn't really know what was going on yet.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
like I remember watching Mike Bibby and all of them just playing.
Mm-hmm.
But like I started like really getting into basketball and watching more NBA like when I hit high school, I think around there. That's when like I started really paying attention.
For sure. That sounds like During the Lakers, Celtics, and Heat era, probably.
Yes, basically. And when like that's when like Steve Nash was still up there with Amari Stoudemire and them. Phoenix Suns was kind of up there still.
That's my favorite team. Sick.
When
Okay. Current favorite player in the NBA.
current favorite player is Kevin Durant.
Okay, KD. How about top 5 current players in the NBA?
That's a hard one, but I would go LeBron, KD, Steph, AD, and see that fifth one is where it gets tough.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna give it to. I will give it to. I'll give it to Jokic right now just because he did win the MVP. But like that fifth spot, like could go to anybody in that top 10. Actually, you know what I mean? Like it could have went. It could go to like. It could go to like Giannis, Luka. You know, all of them could have been that fifth spot. But I'm gonna give it to Jokic just because he did do his thing.
That's crazy. I didn't expect you to say AD, but I respect that. There's a lot of guys out there, you know, like Giannis, Harden, Kawhi. You know, big names, but for sure.
Well, I feel like Kawhi. Let's see, like Giannis. Yes, he could have. He's definitely arguable top 5. But with like Kawhi, he didn't really do what he did the past couple years. So like I think he fell off the top 5, but like he's still like close.
You mean like after Toronto, like winning the chip?
Yeah, exactly.
How about top 5 of all time?
All time.
Yeah.
All time. I'm gonna go. Magic, Kobe, Jordan, LeBron, and Shaq.
Wow. That's a nice list. Okay. That was very similar to Sati, Hunter x Sati. The only difference was he didn't mention Shaq, but he had KD in there. Yeah.
See, the thing about KD, like he would be in my top 5 all time, but he still has years in him to like, you know, make it known that he should be in there. Even though he is my favorite player.
No worries. It's your opinion, for sure.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay, and now talk about ASB. Being a part of that and your class involvement. What was like the stress and thought? Like, was there drama and all that?
For me, it was pretty hectic just because we tried to do a lot for the school. Like even for the community, we had like a Halloween extravaganza type stuff. So like everybody could come to that, and like it would basically a Halloween carnival with a haunted house, and like that was like a big thing for us, and that was crazy hectic because we would have to start setting up right after school, and everybody's just running all over the place while there's still people around, and then like setting up for homecoming, setting up for sports games. We did all that. I worked. If I wasn't playing the sport, I was working like the concession stand, just because I was that person where like I had more free time than most people. Like I was able to stay after school. I was able to stay at school or go to school on an off day, while some people couldn't make it to those stuff. So I I always volunteered, or they would come to me and ask if I could do this. So like I've always took the time and was like, yeah, I can do it. So I was always just working concession stands, at football games, basketball games.
Mm-hmm.
Um, those are like the main ones. And then like setting up, I would be there all day until like and help setting up until we had to actually go to the dance, where I got had to go home, get ready for that. Uh, I remember one time on a Saturday, I went to school at like 7 in the morning on a Saturday, and we started setting up for homecoming, and and then we started setting up for homecoming, and then we had the homecoming parade at the football game, and I was still working the concession stand at the football game, and then after the football game was over, I still had to help set up, and then I had to go home, get ready, and then go back to school for the dance, and then I had to stay and help clean up. So like, like I was at school like all the time, all the time.
All the time. So like, just a lot on your plate, but not necessarily involvement with drama, huh?
Not much drama. Like nothing really crazy happens. Just cause, especially with me, cause like I get along, I get along with everybody kind of.
It's good.
If you had a problem with me, it was definitely wasn't my fault. I didn't do nothing. Like I really just be living my life. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so it's like that was basically it. Like I was just I volunteered a lot, and I was that person to go to if they needed something.
Okay, so speaking on that, or aside from ASB stuff, have you ever been in a physical fight or ever been bullied?
Uh, no, because I never been bullied. Uh, I've I've been in like I never been bullied because, like I said, I was that guy that just got along with everybody. And as in fights go, nobody really ever wanted to like do a real fight.
Mm-hmm.
We kind of just went like, if you know what body blows are, we did that. And then other than that, a lot of people like I knew what was better for myself, because for me, I couldn't get in much trouble, or like I would get in trouble with like more than just
Yeah.
the school. I would get in trouble with my parents. I would get in trouble with like my advisors. I was I was I was very active, so I was very involved. So me getting in trouble because a fight would have been like dumb. I just knew what was better for myself.
Mm-hmm. Your whole reputation and stuff?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Okay, how about injuries? Have you sustained any injuries? Severe
Uh,
injuries?
yes. In second grade, I actually broke my right wrist.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't write, I couldn't eat, I couldn't even lift anything up. But I didn't go to the doctors. I don't remember the reason why,
Mm-hmm.
but I didn't go to the doctors. I let it heal on its own. Like to this day, I
Hawaiian
still
cheer.
like, it still
X100.
it
Best
still
host.
like hurts. It still aches sometimes. But I broke my right wrist riding a bike. I remember I remember riding this bike. I remember it too. I think I was in second grade. I remember riding a bike, and I hit a car's rear view mirror.
Mm-hmm.
I hit it. I remember hitting it with my left hand though, and I fell, and I was unconscious. I remember being unconscious.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah, and I remember somebody coming, like one of the friends, like my neighbor coming, because we were taking turns riding the bike around the block. I remember him coming to me and waking me up, and I woke up, and I couldn't do anything. Like my right wrist was like done for. It was like I couldn't pick anything up. I remember going back. because it was at my grandma's house when this happened too. So I remember going back to my grandma's house, and they had food for me. I forgot what it was that we were eating, but I tried to lift the spoon up, and I couldn't. I just I couldn't lift the spoon up. So for like a few months, I was doing everything with my left hand. I was even trying to write with my left hand. It was so bad. But to this day, I mean, it still hurts sometimes. But hey, I, I, I still shoot. I can still play games. I can still shoot. So it's still fine.
Yeah. So since you're in ASB, you had to be involved with a lot of planning and stuff, school dances.
Hmm.
How many of those did you go to with a date?
Uh, I didn't. I didn't really go to any of the regular dances with a date.
Mm-hmm.
That was the worst, the least of my worries. Um, like we usually, it wasn't really like we went as groups of friends. Like
Yeah.
we went in a group of friends. Like nobody really like went with a date really. Like there's some people with dates, but like a lot of us like we just went as a group. Um, Other than like junior prom and senior ball, like those the main ones that you those two I did go on a date with. Yes,
Okay, so you said junior and
junior
senior ball.
prom and
Yeah.
senior ball. Yeah.
Nice. Were those either of those dates like a partner, significant other, or is it just like a friendly thing?
Friendly thing, friendly thing.
Oh, okay.
We close friends, good friends.
Yeah. Tell us how you asked them.
Junior prom. You know what? I kind of forgot about how I asked the girl to prom. Um, yeah, I definitely forgot how I asked her to prom. I know it wasn't nothing special, but I think the junior prom was. It might have been like I just asked her, if I remember correctly. Um, and then that was with a good friend. We actually like kind of met around there too. Like we kind of just met too, but like she was a good friend, so I asked her, and we ended up going. It was a good time. And then with senior ball, I actually did it in a cute way. She's actually one of my closest friends right now. Our titles are we are each other's best buddies. So it started off. We went to a Kings game.
Mm-hmm.
Can't remember. It might have been it might have been when Chris Paul was still on when the Pelicans were still Hornets and Chris Paul was still
Oh my
on that
gosh.
team. That's
Yeah.
how long ago it was. It might have been that game. After the game, we went to my best friend's house. She helped me set it up, and it was a poster, and the poster said, uh, will you go ball with me?" And it had pictures of like sports balls
Mm-hmm.
because I was into sports. Would you go ball with me? And there was candles set up that said yes or no.
Nice.
Yeah.
Candles, sick. Okay, so as for your education after high school, how did that go?
So after high school, I took a break
Mm-hmm.
from school. I didn't go straight to college. I had an after school program job. I was an after school program teacher, which I already had taken a test and had college credentials to be after school program teacher. I had um the first year I had third graders, and then the year after that I had fifth and sixth graders. But during the year that I was with fifth and sixth graders, that's when I started going to school again. But to um I went to school for sports medicine. which did change my I did change my um major. I changed it to child development because I already had the credentials to like low key be a teacher already. So I wanted to go upon that. And so I did that after school program teaching job, and I was going to school. And then after that, um, the program I was with the teaching shut down because they didn't have the funds to like fund the program. And I kind of that's when I moved to Chico, which I was gonna continue school, but I just decided like school wasn't for me. I just started working full time. It was my first full time job, and I was basically just working. After that, I only went to school for one whole year, 2 semesters. Yeah.
Anything memorable with that 1 year in school, or was it just going to school back then?
With school, I would wake up, go to school. I didn't really like interact with anybody during college.
Hmm.
I just had one friend, like we knew each other already, and we would just hang out. Me and her would hang out, like do homework, and then go to class, and then I'd go to work. And that was about it. After high school, my life kind of got a little boring. But like the thing is too, still after high school, I was every day after work at the park playing basketball still.
Okay, let's talk about your work experience then. So we can start from the beginning and then just talk a little bit about it and then transition.
A good amount of jobs. I started with that job I had at my senior year.
Student board.
I The student board. I was marketing chair, even though I didn't do too much marketing other than on the school social media. I was in charge of some of that. After that, I did the after school program teaching. And I did that for like 2 years, and then that's when
What
I went
age?
um 18, 19,
Okay.
right after high school. Yeah,
Hmm.
18, 19. And then I moved. After that, I moved to Chico, California, and I got a full-time job working at Panda Express. Working at Panda.
Yeah.
Um, I worked there for a year and a half, and that's after that year and a half, I decided to quit. I moved back to SAC. I moved back home, and I got a job at a shoe store, Famous Footwear. I and I did that for 2 years. After that, I am where I am now, which I have a position at a Chinese supermarket stocking, and I do something called Instacart.
Instacart.
Hmm.
Okay, so what was like the most exciting thing about being a part of that student board? Like
A
using the
student
social
board.
media and stuff.
Uh, so this is when like I want to say like social media really wasn't like too big, especially for like students. So you would see like more like parents still on there,
Hmm.
like making comments and like uh just parents that are involved and want to know what's going on with the schools. Um that's about it. Like you didn't really see students on there. It was just a lot of parents making comments and like um asking questions and like stuff like that.
Yeah. So it wasn't like that exciting to you?
No, it wasn't exciting at all. The only thing was I had my own cubicle in the unified school district. We
Yeah.
had a snack closet, and I would sit there doing homework, eating snacks. Other than being in the meetings,
Nice.
it would just be in the cubicle.
Got your own cubicle. All right. So for the teaching, right, with the children, you said third graders, fifth graders, sixth graders.
Hmm.
What did you actually teach them, and how was that experience?
Um, so usually what we teach them, you would just be teaching them what they learned in class.
Mm-hmm.
So like majority of the time, you would just find out what they're learning that week, or either that or like we actually had to make like a lesson plan and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I was kind of more on the easier side where like I didn't want the parents like worrying about helping them with their homework, so we would start with doing homework first. Um, make sure they try to finish as much as they can during that while they're with me, because a lot of the students I had non-English speaking parents. So I feel like it would have been better. Like I even told my advisor like I'm gonna be spending most of the time helping them with their homework and learning what they need to know for their homework before I do anything.
Yeah.
Uh, Other than that, it was trying to get them to stay active. Um, like teaching them things I wish I kind of known, and like being a leader for them. It was like more than it wasn't really just being a teacher. It was more like just being a mentor type. Like how I wanted it to be was like being more of a mentor.
Yeah. Being there for them.
Mhm. Yeah. So like most of the time I would just help them with homework, help them stay active, stuff like that.
So I'm sure, since this was like helpful for them, they didn't give you a hard time or anything, huh?
No, nobody disliked me. They all enjoyed me being there.
Mm-hmm.
They liked me a lot. I was like that cool teacher.
Yeah. Nice. Okay, so talk about why you specifically moved to Chico.
um, I kind of want like everything else I've done. It was more for experience. Like I wanted to be on my own. I wanted to be more independent. I wanted to, live on my own, more privacy. And I had the goal to actually like go to school,
In
be
Chico?
less, yeah, go to school in
Okay.
Chico, be less distracted by like people around me, like life around me at home, because like I feel like while I was at home, I was going out too much. I was doing everything else but you know, like actually getting my education. But like I went there, I wasn't distracted at all. I just realized that school isn't for me, so
Mm-hmm.
ended up just working full time, and that's about it.
You lived with people, right?
Yeah, I lived with people I knew. It was actually one of my friends. It was one of my cousins, one of my friends. Oh, it was one of my cousins and three friends. So there was one, two, three, five of us
Mm-hmm.
in a four-bedroom, because the two of them was a couple. They shared the room and stuff. So there was five of us, four bedrooms, and we we it was easier for us because we all knew each other. We all got along. Like we didn't have trouble like going up to somebody and be like, hey, don't forget to clean this, like like
Yeah.
instead of going like living with somebody random, like you feel kind of wrong. So like we knew each other, we was close, we were comfortable, so like
Mm-hmm.
everything went well. I enjoyed it a lot. They gave me the biggest room,
Mm-hmm.
and so the only thing that sucked about that having the biggest room is I bought so much stuff. It filled up my room, and like my room was nice. Bringing it back home, where I don't really have the biggest room, I have a pretty like small room.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know where to put anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's about it with school.
So what would you say are the actual downsides of living with your friends?
Uh, basically the same thing, like getting too comfortable. Like sometimes. you feel like you're too much at home where you think somebody's gonna clean up for you.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but like we try to make it known to like try to clean up after yourselves.
Yeah.
Try to keep a clean space. So like we're basically still living our own. Um, Nobody was really home though because either some everybody was at school or work.
Mm-hmm.
Like everybody was there at night, but like during the daytime, basically nobody was home.
Yeah.
Um, like other than that though, it was kind of nice because like I said, we all get along. So like when we were home, we would just be hanging out. All of us would just be hanging out in the living room or like kicking it in one of our rooms. And like there's even like not often we like have a group dinner or like group food, but like sometimes like we'll just all get together, cook and eat all together. It's like it's kind of nice.
Yeah.
But the downside is just like getting too comfortable and like just not cleaning up after forgetting to clean up after yourselves kind of things.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you mentioned that you're working at Panda Express while living there. What was
Mhm.
that experience like?
Panda Express was literally hell. Um, I worked like 40 to 50 hours a week. The pay was okay, but like it was just so like the work environment. The people were cool. It's just the job was just like terrible. The managers were kind of like terrible, and we were, according to numbers, we were the busiest Panda Express in Northern California. Um, because we also did have a drive-through,
Oh.
and then the thing about that Panda Express is it was the only one in the general area of like a good hour or two. So people from outside of Chico drove to Panda Express to eat Panda Express,
That's crazy.
and that's also being in the college town. So like the college
Yeah.
students are there. Um, College students are ordering off like DoorDash or whatever we had out there.
Mm-hmm.
So it was very busy. But when it comes to being the busiest Panda Express, we always had the big boss come. The big boss would come, and we had to follow a lot of rules, which was like cooking a certain amount at a certain time. But it was just really like I really hated that. Like everybody hated that too because there's no way that certain amount of people is gonna last more than 5 minutes, and we're not allowed to cook more than a certain amount. Which is
Yeah.
like it didn't make any sense, but we had to keep following the rules for like who knows why. I mean, we know,
Standards.
yeah,
Yeah.
standards and stuff, yeah, but it gets hectic when that happens.
Mm-hmm. A lot of pressure, super busy.
Yes,
Yeah.
super busy.
So you're just sweating your ass off working.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and you only have two people generally cooking at the same time at the whole time. You only have two people
Ouch.
cooking everything basically the whole time.
So that was Panda Express. How about for Famous Footwear?
Famous footwear, very chill. Very chill job. A lot of slow times. But we had our rush hours. Uh, a lot of thieves try to come in and steal. A
Mm-hmm.
lot. But I mean, I'm not risking my life for a job, so you're not gonna expect me to do anything. Um, they come in, try to sneak stuff in their bag. Um, People that sneak stuff in their bag, trying to put it in their pants, or like just try to walk out. But like they get caught. Like we'll say something, and sometimes they act like the victim. Like, th- come on, you're trying to steal. Um, I worked at three different locations because places needed help. I
Mm-hmm.
actually worked at four locations. I started at one spot. Actually, my friend helped me get the job. We started there, um, and then we one of store opens, but we opened another location, and I moved there. I helped them set up the store. I helped open the store, and they needed employees. And they needed somebody with experience already. So I went to that store. I moved to that store, and they weren't making a lot of money. So hours got cut, and I asked to relocate, and I went to another location, which was still fairly in the same area, but we made a lot more money. That was probably the one I worked for the longest. It was the one that I worked at last. Um, they, uh, at a certain point, I was just like, I wasn't getting paid enough for what I was doing because they expected so much out of me. Like, although it seems like it's just a shoe job, like selling shoes and stuff, they expected more like cleaning and shipment stuff and all that type of stuff. And I wasn't getting any raises after 2 years. I didn't get no raise. I didn't, like I wasn't getting paid enough. So I decided to leave. With the fourth location was just they needed people to cover shifts. So here and there I would drive to, like, it was a good hour away in in a city called Brentwood. I drove there a couple times to work. I helped them cover shifts. But like I said, I wasn't getting paid enough, so I decided to leave.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it for the famous footwear.
And then how'd you find your way to your current Chinese market?
So my homie is actually his family owns the supermarket, and he needed people to help stock,
Mm-hmm.
especially like younger people, because right now he has a couple people. They're a little older,
Yeah.
but he does need a little more younger people. So he asked, and I was like, yeah, of course I don't mind it, and the pay's way better, like he and all that stuff. So I don't mind it at all.
A lot of lifting then?
Yeah, just lifting mostly.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so of all your jobs, like talk about interesting stories that happened. Because I know you dealt with like a lot of different people.
Let's see. We could start with the after school program job.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, sometimes, sometimes parents would come and ask why aren't they done with their homework. But the main job, our main job wasn't to finish homework.
Yeah.
Like that was the program. Like even though I'm my like with my class, I was there to help them with homework, but like it's not going to be my job to make sure they finish. If
Mm-hmm.
they needed help, I helped them. If Because they are not all from one class, and they're a mix of different grades, so they didn't all have the same homework. So I can't just be upfront helping the whole class at once. I would have to give one-on-one with anybody that needed help. And sometimes, some of the students, it's not my fault that they didn't finish. And the hardest part was trying to um like telling the parents, like, our program isn't for generally homework, literally just homework. Is to teach them.
Yeah.
And I say the hardest thing is speaking with non-English parents, because like even when you have a student there to help translate for you, not all the right words come out and not the right translation comes out all the time. So sometimes things get confusing between me and some parents.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that's about it. Like nothing too crazy with that job. Just with different parents and concerns with parents and stuff.
What
Um,
languages do you speak?
I just speak Mien in English.
Okay.
A lot of the students were Chinese parents or Vietnamese parents.
Mm-hmm.
Um, with the with the Spanish speaking parents, it was easy because the students that I had that speak Spanish, they speak it like super like fluent. So that was easier. But with the Chinese and Vietnamese ones, it got a little difficult here and there.
Yeah. Okay. And I guess for your Panda Express, famous footwear, or your current
Uh,
place, what stories do you got?
with Panda Express, craziest things. Honestly, nothing too crazy happens at Panda Express. There was one time where somebody tried walking out with food before they paid. Uh, but I mean, you can't really do much about it, even if they did. The dude just tried to grab the bag of food before paying, because it's like right there, right next to the register.
Yeah.
So he tried to just grab it and run, but he didn't get it. Um, with Panda Express, the only crazy things were like meeting people. Like they were a lot of the people I met were nothing like anybody I've met from like previous, because they're from a different place. They're from a different city.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there's been times where from going on with their questions with the leftovers, so you're not allowed to take leftovers home.
Got it.
Well, I mean, I don't work there no more, so I could tell you we took leftovers home.
Nice. Okay. You're not allowed to, but we did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like because sometimes there'd be like a lot of leftovers because we would have a rush right before we closed. So like we're gonna make sure we have we had to make sure, you want to try to make sure there's enough food. So like we made it, sometimes we would make too much.
Mm-hmm.
So there'd be times where I'd pack like four of those plates, take it home, and me and my roommates would just feast for dinner.
Yeah.
But like yeah, sometimes, but like most of the time, so you're supposed to weigh it and throw it away, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
But like I don't get what's the reason for that. Like even like with the rules and stuff, like I don't get the reason why throw it away when somebody can eat it. Going with famous footwear, it just has to do a lot with thieves and people trying to steal. That's mostly it. Uh, there's one time somebody tried to pull out a garbage bag and like just dump shoes in his garbage bag and run out.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but but they didn't get away. Uh, other than thieves, famous for there was none really too crazy.
Question: could you reserve new releases for yourself?
So I worked at Famous Footwear, and those stores don't get like cool shoes.
Ah, got it.
Yeah.
And then in your current place, there's not much
Uh,
customer interaction or what? Stocking?
Supermarket. I don't. So it's literally in a neighborhood where I grew up, the
Mm-hmm.
Chinese supermarket. So I see people I know all the time. They come up to me, say what's up. Like I even see people that I haven't seen in years.
Oh shoot.
Like yeah, so it's kind of crazy. Um, but one crazy event did happen where there was a shooting.
Oh
Not at the supermarket, but it was
yeah.
next door. The dude had a gun, and the dude ran all the way towards our store and tried to come inside,
Mm-hmm.
but we closed the door and locked it already. Like he had the gun with him, and then the cops came. They closed off that whole big street, and it's like one of the main streets in our city, and it was closed off. And uh, that was basically the craziest things that happened while I would work there.
Yeah. Okay, so based on all of your work experience, what would you what would you say people should know about customer service?
Customer service, just know you do have to fake a smile. Like, you might not be in the best moods, you might not be having the best day, but you never know if somebody else is having a worse day. So, sometimes you gotta fake a smile. Maybe they'll fake a smile. Sometimes you'll get some of the best interactions, and like sometimes like even like you'll meet people and have a small conversation, and it will just make your day better. Faking a smile can go a long way.
Yeah. There you go. Anything else you want to talk about in regards to all your jobs? Final thoughts?
Uh, for me is don't get too comfortable at a job. Um, because once you get too comfortable, even though you hate it there, you're gonna get too comfortable to leave. And if it's not a job for you, don't be afraid to leave.
Nice. Good advice. Okay. So before we get to the next part, I'm gonna use the restroom real quick. Do you need a break?
Yep, let me go do that too.
Okay. Okay, let's talk about social aspects in your life. So, talk about your partying phase.
Partying phase.
When did that start? What was it like?
I want to say it started. I want to say it started like when I was like 18, 19. That's when I started drinking more and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that's when I was like being more outgoing other than going to like just playing sports. Other than just playing sports, I say that's when I was most like outgoing and just making friends and all that stuff. Um, I didn't really start going out to like clubs and stuff until like when I was like 22-ish. Um, before COVID hit, we was going out minimum once to twice a week, like every week. It was like pretty often.
Yeah.
Because there was a like we were weekly at this club that was popping on Sundays. So we was going on a Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we would go weekly, and that was like our spot every week. We used to go pretty often. Other than that, we like house parties and stuff. I'm not a big fan of. I just don't. I don't know what it was, but I just wasn't a big fan of house parties like that, unless it was like literally a big group of everybody I knew. Um, I think so there was one time I was probably like 19 when this happened. We was at a Halloween party, and some stuff went down and some shooting went down. Uh, and it was like I didn't even know more than maybe like five people. So that's probably
Jeez.
where like yeah, that's probably where like it went where it happened to where I don't even enjoy house parties with people I don't know. Like
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't feel safe. And I'd rather just be at a house party or a small kickback with people I know. Other than that,
Was everyone
yeah,
okay?
uh, I don't remember. Um, I'm pretty sure I don't think anybody got hit or anything from
Oh.
that one. Yeah, I don't remember anything happening at that one. I just remember the cops showing up. I almost didn't get to leave. Um, but I don't know why, but they just let me walk away. I thought they were gonna keep me because they kept a lot of people there, but I was just walking away, and they let me walk away, and then everybody else, a lot of people that were still there, they kept there for a pretty long time.
Mm-hmm.
And then other than that, with partying and stuff, yeah, it was just as of few years, where I just started going out a lot with friends and stuff, clubs and bars. Um, I never been too big of a drinker unless we went out to clubs. Um, I'm not a casual drinker like that, just because I'm not a big fan of the taste. So like,
Okay.
if I had a choice, I don't, I wouldn't drink. But like with seltzers, you don't really taste nothing, so I don't mind drinking seltzers.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to hard alcohol, I'd rather not. But like, I will for going out. That's about it
What
for
was
like the
your first
parties.
time? First
My
time
first
drinking, and what
time
was it?
drinking, if I remember correctly, so I didn't really drink or anything. Like I didn't do nothing like that during high school. I think my first drink ever, like actual drink, might have been I was like 19, I think, or 18 or 19. Um, and I think it was Captain Morgan. Disgusting.
Yeah, what's the story? What details?
uh, I can't remember if it was my like I said, it was either 18 or 19. It was my 18th or 19th birthday. Um, one of my homies decided that we were gonna barbecue at his house and drink at his house for my birthday. I don't know where that idea came from, and I've never drank before. So that just led up to there was like, so if we get drinks and barbecue, are you gonna drink? I was like, fuck it, why not? So that's where it happened, and I do remember getting drunk. I don't remember. I just remember drinking. I don't remember most of that night. I definitely got drunk though, like out of my mind.
What type of drunk are you?
What type of drunk am I? I'm a hungry drunk for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'll get drunk and just like look for food, but I'm more of just I'll get drunk and just mind my own business, you know?
Yeah. So you're chill.
I'll get drunk and be like, fuck, I kind of want to be in bed right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So even though you don't drink a lot, what would you say is your favorite and least favorite?
My least favorite has to be Captain Morgan. I think because of that first time,
Mm-hmm.
but that thing is just disgusting. Um, right now my go-tos are either some Hennessy Privilege, some Patron, or some Don Julio.
Okay.
Yeah, those are probably my go-tos right now.
Were you ever in the raving scene?
No, I'm not into EDM at all. But a
Okay.
lot of people are trying to get me into going, but I
What?
just don't know if it's my scene. I'd
Okay.
rather go to like I'd rather go to like concerts like with singers or rappers I know. I'd rather go to those, or I'd rather go to like if we're gonna go to a big event, go to like a Rolling Loud or something. But
Which
I don't see
events have you been to?
I've
Concerts and
only
such.
been I've only been to two. I've been to Travis Scott. That was my very first one.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went to SOB RBE, if you know them. It's a rap group. Um, my first one was crazy though. With Travis Scott, it was at the Memorial Auditorium in Sacramento, and they didn't really check anybody. So the whole they just checked for weapons. So the whole auditorium was hotboxed.
Interesting.
It was lit.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
And then with SOB, um, it was a smaller one because this was before they got famous. Um, this was before they got famous with they were on the Black Panther track sound or whatever, the sound. That's when they really got blown up, and so not a lot of people knew who they were, even though they had the one song that they only had one song that everybody knew for sure. Um, Me and my friends listened to a bunch of the other stuff, but everybody there just knew one of their songs, which was kind of, at least they knew something. And it was a way smaller venue, a way smaller event, um, but it was still fun. But that Travis Scott one was first one and very memorable.
Very nice. Any crazy party stories or club experiences?
Uh, there was actually a recent one.
Okay.
Uh, Nothing crazy happened to me, but um, one of my homies, had gotten to like a interaction, and they started kind of pushing, and then they started punching, and I'm not gonna let, and then another dude jumped in, and I'm not gonna let my homie get jumped, so I snuck in a punch, and then we got broken off, and nothing happened after that. Nobody was around, so I just punched the dude, and everything was done after that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so I'm trying to understand, like, if I'm at the club with you, Matt, what kind of dude are you at the club? What are you doing in there the whole time?
I'm chilling, drinking. Uh, sometimes I talk to some females, and things could lead to others, but most of the time we just chilling, drinking,
Mm-hmm.
um, with the homies. So we do. One of my homies, a few of my homies have like plugs on booths. So sometimes we would have a booth if it's some booths, if they're available, we would get them because of our homies have a plug on it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but other than that, yeah, just chilling, regular club stuff. I'm not the one to buy random girls drinks. That's weird as fuck to me. I mean, it's not weird if other people do it. Like, I see why you do it, it's normal. But like, I'm not just gonna buy a random girl a drink.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Like, you have conversations.
I have conversations, or like, um, somebody I'm talking to meets me there, and we're, having a good time.
Yeah, you have a
That's about it.
question from Chris. What
Which one?
bottles are you guys getting at for Arena?
You want to buy a bottle at Arena? A bottle is probably gonna be like $400. You crazy? Who do I look like buying a bottle at a club? Bottles at clubs are not the move.
Okay, so that's your party club life experience.
Yeah, not too much. Just because, like I said, I am introvert at heart.
Mhm.
Um, so like I go out like if I'm asked, or like if it's a big group of us, or like we're going to celebrate something. But other than that, I don't really go out too much.
Who's your favorite artist, and what's your favorite song as of now?
Oh, that's a tough one. Uh, I could tell you a favorite song right now. I am listening to a lot of Kid Laroi. I think my favorite song right now might be "Still Chose You" by Kid Laroi.
Mm-hmm.
But my favorite artist, it's a tough one because I do listen to a lot of people. Um, it could go between like Drake, the regular, you can't go wrong with Drake, or like Travis Scott. But yeah, it's hard to pick a favorite artist, but I say favorite song at this moment will be "Still Chose You" by Kid Laroi.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so are you into either anime, shows, movies, or dramas?
Uh, Not really into any. Just I will, here and there, I would watch the anime, but like I never really finished. The only two animes I finished were Kuroko no Basket and Haikyuu. Um, but that was like a few years ago. So
Hmm.
like it's kind of like fond right now. Like I don't really remember too much, but those were the two animes that I've actually finished before. And then as of shows and movies go, I'm big into Marvel, but I haven't really been watching too much. Um and with shows, not too many shows I'm into. Uh like like the past few years, I don't even watch anything really except that I watch a lot of like random YouTube stuff, honestly. A lot of Um random YouTube stuff and like as of late I'm just on Twitch a lot.
Hmm.
So I don't really watch much like shows or like other stuff like that.
Yeah, no worries. Okay. What do you think of Haikyuu and Kuroko though?
Oh no, I enjoyed them both like a lot. Um like I said, it's been a while, but I do remember enjoying Haikyuu a whole lot. Um like a lot.
Yeah,
I
those are
don't
your
know.
sports.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's like the main reason I enjoyed them, just because like it's sports that I like. Like I've tried watching like Naruto, I tried watching Dragon Ball Z, but like I could never get into it. Um,
Hmm.
Other than that, like I've watched like Avatar: The Last Airbender. I'm
Okay.
big into Avatar: The Last Airbender, and I'm big into Yu-Gi-Oh. They don't really count as like animes, I believe, but like you know, they're like kind of in the category at the same time, right?
I would count it, but
Uh,
interesting. Yeah, wait. Like watching it or playing it?
both.
Oh shoot.
Yeah.
Okay, we're about to talk about this for a minute. Okay, listen. Yu-Gi-Oh, huh? What do you mean you play Yu-Gi-Oh? Like
I used to do it pretty often. I still have a deck. We keep it at my cousin's because that's where we meet up and duel.
like with your
Uh,
cousins and friends?
yeah, we're like there's a few of us that actually like we just meet up and like chill, couple drinks and duel. You know.
Have you ever entered a tournament?
Never know. It's always been like friendly duels or like
Ah, okay.
stuff like that. Yeah, never
Casual.
been. Yeah, just casual. Yeah.
Okay, so let me ask you, like, what deck would you use?
I have so the my main deck right now. I used to run
Oh, like
some
you're
like
updated? You're playing with like new stuff?
no, not nothing
Oh,
super new.
okay.
But like I do have a current deck that I do use that's still like kind of relevant.
Mm-hmm.
It's a zombie dragon deck. That's the one that I use currently. Um Growing up I used a lot of the dragon decks, and then as of now I use that zombie dragon, and then growing up I had decks like very similar to Yugi's.
I see.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's nice. Okay.
But like we do still like till this day, like here and there we'll meet, like we'll go hang out and duel.
Mm-hmm.
Like my cousins, uh one of my cousins, he stays up to date with the stuff.
Yeah,
And then one of my younger cousins, his brother stays like super updated with it. So like he has the pendulum stuff, I think it's called, right?
okay.
Yeah. So I'm not into all that, but they're
Yeah.
updated. I'm still on that zombie. That zombie dragon is nice. Like I can still, beat them with it. So I'm just saying, it's not bad.
All right, other random questions. Well, what's your favorite thing to cook and eat?
Uh, I like. I have a good rib recipe. There's only one person that's tried it. That's on Twitch.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm pretty sure she's lurking, but she's probably not here. But she's tried it before.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I like making pasta. Pasta and ribs. I say like my top things for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, I don't think there's much.
Okay, take this time. Talk about your merch. Like
My
flex it.
merch.
Tell us how you decided to get started with it, the design and all that. What it means to you.
Let me go grab it.
Let's go. Oh yeah, snacking on some Cheetos. This man has his own merch, guys. Take a look at it. Welcome in, everyone. You're tuning in. I appreciate you. Thank you. We're learning about MienPanda's life, aka Matt. And I seen. Thank you so much for the raid. If you're still here, I really appreciate you. You chose me of all people. Jeez, that's love.
Okay, so it was a very small launch. Like um, I guess I would start with explaining where my brand came from, right? So this is a shirt. Uh, as my logo, it says Saucy Indian Panda. This was the first thing I dropped, and so we could start by I started streaming 2 years ago, not on Twitch though. Um, I was streaming off um first site I was on was called a Mixer because it was a Microsoft thing. Um, so I was on Xbox straight to Mixer. It was easy for me. Um, like it was kind of easy to get numbers on there, but like um, they shut down. I went to Facebook because Facebook bought Mixer.
Oh, okay.
This is me just experimenting again. Like, who
Yeah.
knows where I could have been if I started Twitch 2 years ago instead of where I am now. So I started off Facebook. I got my following. I was at 500 followers after I want to say like a month. Um, but there was no interaction. Like I got the followers, but the viewers weren't there. The I was like at the affiliate program that they had. I had it already.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but it was just like I was basically streaming for nothing. Like no numbers, just following. So I decided to, and then middle of February, I decided to stream on Twitch specifically. I can remember the date too. Believe it might have been February 15th. Because before this, I was streaming on like I was multi-streaming on Facebook and Twitch,
Yeah.
but like I wasn't really taking Twitch serious. I was taking Facebook serious. And then when I decided to take Twitch serious, I was doing Twitch only. I think it was like February 15th of this year. Um, I got affiliated February
28th.
28th,
Mm-hmm.
last day of February. Um, since then, where I've gone, it's been pretty nice. Even though who knows where I could have been if I started streaming straight on Twitch 2 years ago. I feel like um I feel like being on Twitch when I got there was a good time just because you meet the people you meet for a reason. So like,
Timing of
I'm
it, yeah.
glad. Yeah, so I'm glad. I guess I am glad that I started where I am, even though like it could have took me to different places if I started a long time ago. But I'm glad I met the people I met today, um, and got to where I am today from where I started. But like I said, my brand before just MienPanda was Saucy MienPanda
Mm-hmm.
because that was my Xbox name. So and people, were down to rock merch, and you know, a side income which wouldn't be too bad. I decided to make shirts. Saucy MienPanda with my logo. It was very simple with shirts. Um, and then I got hoodies after that. I had Saucy MienPanda in the front and my logo on the back. Very professionally made. Uh, the logo was professionally made also. Um, it took about 3 months for that logo to get done. That you see on all my stuff now. It was an actual art person. We worked on it for a while to make sure, like he wanted to get what I wanted in my mind on paper. So that came out like very nice.
Mm-hmm.
And so with the merch, it was very small drops just because, like I said, it was basically mostly people that I already knew that bought it. Um, with shirts, I want to say I sold about 100 shirts, which
Let's
isn't too bad for
go.
starting.
Yeah.
And with hoodies, I think I sold around like 50, and I still have a few hoodies, just a hand, like not too many. I have one reserved for you, and I have one reserved for somebody else. That's about it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Very
out of
nice.
focus.
So, so why Panda and Saucy? How did you come up with those?
So Panda, I got that nickname in middle school. Two girls gave me the nickname Panda Bear in the 7th grade.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it stuck around.
Yeah.
Everybody called me Panda. There's people that I know IRL that don't even know me by my real name. They know me by Panda. Um, and then like there's even people that don't even call me by my real name. They call me by Panda. Um, and then Saucy was a group of friends that I had. We all had Saucy in front of our name, and it just kept it. So I wanted Saucy Panda, but I couldn't get the name. Somebody had it, so
Damn. Okay.
I just stuck with Saucy MienPanda, and then I came to Twitch and try to just make everything straight up just MienPanda. Um, it's just my ethnicity, my nickname put together. I'm not gonna lie, it is weird when some people call me like call me by the name Mien, just because it's like if I called you by your ethnicity, you know.
Yeah.
So it
I
is
see
kind
that.
of weird, but I've gotten used to it. Um, so it's like it is what it is now. Just a lot of pandas, so I get it. Um, so it's just sauce. So it's just my ethnicity, my nickname. So it's I prefer Panda, Matt, or Matthew. People even call me Maddie. Some people call me Maddie Ice. Um, but yeah, I'm getting used to being called Mian, so it is what it is.
There you go. Okay. Okay, more social aspects. Let's talk about relationships, heartbreak if there is any. Start from the beginning. Whatever you want to talk about, you could tell us how you met, how it went down, how it ended, etc.
First girlfriend ever was, well, it depends if you count like elementary school.
Count whatever
Like
you
it
want to
kind of,
count. Just talk about everything
so it
that
was
you
that
want.
girl in 2nd grade that I was telling you about on the field trips. Like,
Yeah.
we
Hug
would
your
hold
hand.
hands all field trip, every field trip. We would just hold hands the whole time, like never let go. And if we did let go, like 2 minutes later, she'll come back. Um, After that, like, like like for me, girlfriends weren't ever like in my state of mind. Like it wasn't something I ever thought of.
Mm.
Just because I'm just more of a social person. I just, friends and stuff. And so girlfriend, I got one in 8th grade. Uh, the funny thing was, I don't remember exactly how it happened, but I remember somebody just coming up to me. One of her friends came up to me and was like, "Hey, she likes you." And I was like, "Okay." I just shrugged it off. Um, and then later on, I just remember somebody like, "Dude, she really likes you." So I was like, okay, she's cool. She's cute. It's not something that I'm whatever. So I decided one day because we had sixth period together. I remember, and I remember asking her out. I said, "Do you want to be my girlfriend after class?" Like we was just walking. Do you want to be my girlfriend? And she was like, "Yeah." And then we went about. It was the end of school, so she went home. We went about our days. Um, we had MySpace back then. I think we
Mm-hmm.
talked on MySpace. Um, we started talking more. Um, we started hanging out more. Like I barely knew her, but I asked her out because they said she liked me. So that was weird. That didn't even last too long. I want to say like 2 months max, maybe three.
Yeah.
And then um, after that, I've I've always been to the type of person to not really like date,
Mm-hmm.
but like I've like talk to girls.
Yeah.
So we've gotten serious, but like not really like boyfriend girlfriend until I want to say my sophomore year. Um, met this girl. We met off Facebook first because we didn't go to the same school. Uh, she she had a boyfriend at the time, but like she was like calling me cute and stuff. So I was like, shit. She ended she she ended up breaking up with her. I mean, she ended up breaking up with him, and then we ended up dating like maybe a week after that.
Oh.
Um, we ended up dating for a year and a half.
Wow.
Yeah, we ended up dating for like a year and a half. We decided to break things off just because we weren't able to see each other often, just because uh, we didn't go to the same school. We weren't mobile. We didn't really have, we couldn't really get to see, like, we just didn't have the chance to see each other.
Yeah.
So we ended up breaking it off, and that was it for me and her. Like me and her we're still friends. We still talk here and there, but like, just to say hi, catch up, but nothing crazy.
It was mutual. The
Yeah,
breakup.
yeah, basically, yeah. Like we just like we just didn't have time. Like other than us texting each other,
Mm-hmm.
we just it was nothing really like. You seen how much I had going on during high school.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really even have time. I didn't even have a phone, an actual phone. I had a phone in eighth grade, but like I had to pay for texting, so I couldn't text until like after like 10 p.m. or whatever that time was. Um, and then I had phones, but like I said, it was I didn't have free texting. I never had free texting up until I had an iPhone. I had iMessage. I didn't even have an iPhone yet. I had a Sidekick, the best phone ever, Sidekick, and iTouch or whatever it's called, iPod Touch, and I had iMessage on it so that I could text through that, but I couldn't even text like that. So um, after that, like other than that, I've never really had something really serious. Like that was my last serious actual boyfriend girlfriend. We dated for a year and a half. Um, Other than that, like I've talked to some people, like we've gotten serious, but like just never like went farther.
Okay. So would you say you've ever been heartbroken then?
Um, I mean, like, of course, I was sad after a year and a half with her. Like, I was pretty sad. That
Mm-hmm.
first one in the eighth grade, I could have cared less. I don't even remember how we broke up or whatever, but we broke up and I could have cared less. But the 1 year and a half, you spend a lot of your time focused on somebody, so of course you're gonna feel away. But like after some time, it's just like it's whatever. You move on and shit happens.
Yeah. Okay, okay. So that's the relationship stuff. What type of girls are you into? Or have you dated?
I wouldn't say there's a type.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I vibe with you, then we're gonna vibe. Cause I've talked to girls, like different girls that are like into different things. Um, like it just depends on how me and you are connected. If we connect, if we have any similar interests, if we could be ourselves with each other, stuff like that, then you know it is what it is. It's like there's no specific trait that I've ever looked into a girl.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, let's talk about mental health for a bit. How are you feeling mentally right now? And was there ever a point where you
Okay.
felt like you were at your lowest?
So with mental health is a big thing with me because there was a point in time. Uh, some people might know, but some people might not know. But I was in like a very bad state of depression. Uh, I've tried ending my own life before, um, like stuff like that. But like I know it's crazy to just say that and like brush it off. But
Mm-hmm.
I'm in definitely a better place now. Uh, I've learned how to cope with things on my own, learn how to be there for myself. Um, and like nowadays, if you ever hear me just like ramble and like talk, you'll hear me talk about like if somebody has something to say, like about how they're feeling, I'll talk to them about how they're feeling because I know how it feels to be alone. I know how it feels, to fight demons on your own,
Mm-hmm.
to fight your own mental health, like fight your own mental. Um, and like it's a feeling that you don't want anyone else to go through either. So like I tell people all the time, like if you need somebody to talk, if you need somebody to text, if you need somebody to just listen, my DMs are always open. Um, because nobody should ever need to fight through things alone with everybody that you have around you, especially with the community that we have around us is like somebody will be there for you. And if nobody's there for you, just know that I will be there for you.
Yeah. So, are you okay talking about what you went through?
Yeah, I'm good. It's I leave it in the past now. I can't like I try to forget it, so it's like not much that I could remember what I was thinking. I just
Mm-hmm.
even being around so many people, there was like I told you, I knew a lot of people even in like high school. I was always that big smile, bubbly person. Always smiled, but like at the end of the day, sometimes I I felt alone a lot,
Mm-hmm.
just because sometimes it's like you go home. I think that's another reason. It's like sometimes you go home and you realize, you're still by yourself.
Yeah.
Um, you're alone with your thoughts. You end up thinking too much. Um, but and that's like a big reason why right now at this moment, I try to find a lot of ways to keep myself busy. Um, I feel like that's the number one way because if as long as you're busy, like keeping your mind out of your own head, you should be okay. But Just know depression is a real thing. Uh, like people really like. It doesn't matter if they're smiling. Doesn't matter like who they are, how many people is around them. Like even if it's like for example a Twitch streamer, it doesn't matter how many viewers they have, how much followers they got. You know, once you turn off a stream, you're kind of by yourself again. And other than that, it's like you're just by yourself with your minds. And that's another thing with me is like I do overthink a lot.
Yeah.
I think a lot about just life in general. So it's like I tend to overthink and just sometimes I do think the worst of things, like the worst outcome of things, and it's very bad for myself. But right now, like I do have a lot of great people around me. I know a lot of people I could reach out to if I need to. Um, Definitely a better place than I've ever been. But like I said, sometimes, you know, that feeling of just being alone sometimes just hits you and sometimes there's nothing you could do really about it. Um,
Yeah.
that's about it.
Well, you have me and many other people in this chat, so there's that too.
Facts.
So this sounds pretty recent.
So like, I fucking Trevor. um, I started feeling this way like my senior year in high school, and I want to say like I didn't get to a better position in my own head until as of recent, like maybe 2 years ago or 3 years ago. So it was like a good amount of years. I graduated in 2013. That was my senior year. That's when I started feeling a lot of this, and I didn't like feel better about myself until maybe like a good 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Fighting it a lot alone. Fighting it a lot alone, but it's making me a better person too. But that's why I keep saying to people, it's definitely super hard fighting it alone. Just because, like I said, I've tried entering my own life before, like, but uh, that's why I tell people like you don't have to be alone, especially anybody that's came up to me. My DMs are always open, literally, to listen, to talk to, because I could always relate to a lot of things. But yeah, just keeping myself busy is one of my best ways to cope about it right now.
Yeah.
And definitely in a better place.
So have you ever seeked for professional help?
Professional help, no. Just because I don't personally believe in it too much. Like, why would I pay for somebody to help me about myself? Kind of thing.
See, okay. All right. Let's talk about your goals and aspirations in life as of now. What are they?
My goals. I want to say, honestly, I'm really grinding this content creating stuff. I've took some hours off work and grinding this stuff, even though it may take a while. I'm taking like risks and stuff like that to see if I could get to where I could be. Um, just playing games. It's because playing games is something that I've always loved, you know. And if it's not basketball, then video games is it. Cause there ain't no way I'm making it to the NBA. So, um, So video games is what I've always wanted, and to be able to say you're playing games for a living would be a dream come true for reals.
Hmm.
Um, just because I enjoy my time playing games, I enjoy my time playing games with friends. Um, so like to be a professional content creator would be a goal. Like that's like a long goal, of course. Um, a short goal would just to be uh just to be able to make enough doing everything I'm doing to like provide for the people around me. And then like the biggest reason that gets me going to like grind this content creating stuff is really I want to give back to my family a lot. Like they've taken a lot of risks on me.
Hmm.
Like even growing up, we didn't have a lot of money, so like even what we had, they tried to give me the best life that they could give me. So um, as soon as I can, I'm definitely trying to give back to my family as much as possible
Hmm.
because they've given me a lot, and with the opportunity like this, it'd be nice.
Yeah. Okay, so talk about some traveling you've done, an adventure, and what do you plan on doing in the future?
Uh, Traveling, I haven't traveled too much. The farthest I've gone is literally I live in Sacramento, California. The farthest I've gone is Las Vegas and Portland, Oregon.
Hmm.
Um, like I'd love to travel, but like, expenses is like not in not in my reach at all.
Yeah.
Uh, but one day for sure, like traveling, cause like especially cause like I told you, I like sightseeing. I like seeing like I like to be pleasured with seeing things, like pleasured with my eyes. And
Hmm.
then I enjoy food a lot, so like just traveling to eat would be amazing. And that's about it for like what I would love to do and where I've been. Like Vegas was just actually two first time in Vegas was like as an adult was 2 years ago. And
Hmm.
we went for a homie's birthday. We kind of went crazy. Like we spent a lot of money. We even had VIP booths in one of the biggest clubs there. We seen Ti perform literally right in front of us. Ti, um, even though, dude. So the fun thing about Ti, he wears this beanie right on the side of his head, and he doesn't wear it all the way, but it doesn't fall off. I noticed that while drunk.
Okay, interesting.
But other than that, I have family in Portland, so we visited there. I visited family. I visited friends that live up there now too, and I have friends that work at the Nike employee store. So sometimes we go up there and just shop at Nike. And at the employee store, it is 50% off. So we kind of go crazy when we go there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Other than that, not too much traveling, like Tahoe, normal vacation spots that are close by.
Hmm.
But that's about it. My next trip will be to LA for a Twitch meetup.
Hmm.
Um, October 28th of this year, we will be at Universal Studios. And October 29th, we will be at Arena K-Town. And if anybody else is in LA that wants to meet up between the 27th and the 31st, um, feel free to make plans with me.
Nice. Who are you going with?
As of right now, it's me and Mikey that are going from here, and we are meeting other. It's a big Twitch meetup at Universal that we're doing. It's with my friend, my streamer friend Christy, my streamer friend Misa Michelle, another streamer friend Valan should be there, kind of big streamers, kind of nervous, kind of excited.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then their communities will be there, and like other small streamers too, I believe that I'm not sure who else. And just friends, like friends in general that I've met from their community will be there.
Very nice. Okay, so that's travel plans. Let's talk about social media, socials. Aside from Twitch, what are you currently using and what are you up to?
So I use almost every social media out there. I have Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Snapchat. Those are like the main ones. I'm not. I even scroll through Tumblr here and there still. Like no cap. There's still times when I do. It's um, just to be on like I said, to be on social media and to distract myself. And then for Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok, I'm really trying to be more active right now. I'm very active on Twitter because, like, you just
Mhm.
tweet a bunch of words and you can post it. But with Instagram, I'm trying to be more active. Um, like take more pictures, touch more grass, go outside more. Um, like for example, I have the homie Mike Easy here. Help me take a picture so I could post.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I should be posting more. I have a few in my gallery to post. I'm trying to spread them apart because I don't really go outside too much, so try to have as much as possible. And then with TikTok, I'm trying to post more on there, like just content to grow my streams. Because like if you guys don't know, TikTok lightweight, low key is life changing. Like I've seen it change people's lives for real. Like I've seen people grow, not just Twitch, but like music, their own social lives. They're like dancers. They've foodies. Like they TikToks have changed their lives. So I'm trying to be more active on there, post more content, and see if I could help grow my streams that way.
Awesome. Oh yeah. So talking about TikTok, what kind of things are you posting now?
So TikTok started for me beginning of quarantine. I was legit posting like random TikTok trends, like dances and stuff like that. But as of right now, I'm really just posting like stream clips. Mostly, I want to say right now is mostly Valorant. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but it's definitely hard to get numbers because so many people are posting it.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, there's a lot of Valorant stuff. Just clips of Valorant. That's mostly it that I'm posting.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Now it's time. Let's move on to Twitch.
I don't know how to focus.
Alright,
Oh, there we go.
he'll
I
be back.
think no. Yeah.
Alright, so Twitch, you mentioned briefly how you got started, right? Because you went through
Yes.
Mixer, got onto Twitch.
hmm
So I guess you could talk about what categories you're currently streaming and what your current schedule is like.
Right now I stream mostly Valorant,
Mm-hmm.
just cause I feel like it's the game that's like most people are here to watch. But I have gotten a lot into 2K again. Um, so mostly just Valorant and 2K. I used to be a Warzone streamer also, but that game is completely full of hackers. So trying to stay away from it. But yeah, mostly Valorant right now. Uh, a couple of my friends want are talking about they want to do like podcasts also, but like it would just be us talking like with different like different topics
Yeah.
and stuff like that. Mostly probably will mostly be like just basketball and life stuff. That's about it for like my categories on Twitch, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. And then your current streaming schedule?
Oh, my schedule, I do not have one. But mostly I will start between anytime. I will start anytime between 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. and I will end around like 1 1 a.m. the earliest, maybe 2 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
That's around there's where I usually try to stream
Okay, let's talk about who are some of your day ones that are still with you on
on
Twitch.
Twitch.
Mm-hmm.
Um, let's see. Is so speaking of day ones, it's like there's people, you know how there's like different like kind of communities in on Twitch.
Yeah.
So a lot of the people that were there for like when I started taking Twitch serious
Mm-hmm.
wasn't really there, aren't really in the community that me, like specifically me and you share, for
Okay.
example. Um they are still, they still do come around. I still go to their streams also, always show support. But I say the number one person is one of my, I met her in high school.
Oh.
Um I met her in high school. Her
Mm-hmm.
name is Peasy. I'm pretty sure you've seen her around. I think she just followed you today.
Wait, like
She's
you
one of my
know
day
her
ones.
IRL, you mean?
Yeah, we
Oh,
met in high
okay,
school.
okay, okay.
She is one of the people I talk to the most. Um, she is literally my day one,
Mm-hmm.
and uh, she's been around the whole time. But like, there's also people that I've met like towards the beginning, and like, we still like talk and show love to each other from day one for sure. Like Jessica's, for example, Ian, for example, like we
Mm-hmm.
met and like, we've been pretty good friends since. Um, Me and you, like we met not too long ago, but like, we've been pretty cool since. But like from day one when I started streaming, taking Twitch serious, she is probably like my number one.
Nice. Okay. Let's talk about your emotes briefly. How did that happen? And who made it?
My emotes were made from somebody I met before I started. Like, I met from Twitch, but I didn't start streaming on Twitch. Her name is Kukuro. Um, it's in my bio. She's in my Discord if anybody ever wants to reach her out. But she's amazing. She is my designated art person at the moment. Like we're
Mm-hmm.
working on new ones right now, actually.
Ooh,
Um,
okay.
yeah, and she literally like whatever I want, she tries. She's not the same person that made my my logo though. She's
Mm-hmm.
not the same person that made my logo, but she's made my emotes and all that, and she tries her best to bring out what I want to life for sure. It's like everything she's done so far, like I loved it.
Yeah.
I don't know her prices or anything at the moment, but she's definitely great.
Okay, so you briefly mentioned about doing a meetup, right?
Uh-huh.
Are you planning to do any more aside from that? Or have you met other streamers IRL yet?
From Twitch, I've only met Kevin Plastify, and Nate, which is Unwanted KABZ.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the only two that I've. Oh, and Emily, Vo Emily.
How was that
Those.
experience?
It was cool. Like they're the same people online that they are out of off Twitch. You're always gonna be slightly more shy, if anything.
Mm-hmm.
but they were pretty like the same. Um, we were so me so that happened 2 3 weeks ago. Me and Mike decided to go to SJ and take some pictures,
Mm-hmm.
and we ended up meeting them up. We just got K barbecue with me, Mike, Classify, and Unwanted, and one of their friends. I don't know his name though.
Yeah.
And then after that, we went to get boba with, and we met up with Emily there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, that's about it. That's the only people I've met. Oh, I met like those people that I've told you from uh the separate community. That's not like you most likely don't know them right now. I've met them up before. Like one of their names is like Pala Coyote, Mr. Kearns.
Mm-hmm.
If you're in my chat, they're here. They're there here and there. But like I've met them um once. And they got K barbecue out here with me and Sack. Um, Other than that, me and Peasy, we hang out here and there.
Yeah.
She's come over to my house. We've kicked it. I've, she's the only person that's tasted my food.
Mm-hmm.
So if she ends up being in here, you can ask her how my food is. Other than that, yes, this big Twitch meetup in LA is gonna be the biggest meetup for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And definitely we'll try to meet up with more people in the future, like especially because you don't live too far, so I'm definitely gonna meet up with you. Me and Jess will be meeting up soon, because she lives in the area also.
Mm-hmm.
And Ian lives in New York, so that's a tough one.
Okay. Wait, are you talking about the night? Did you go to Goku?
We wanted to go to Goku, but a lot of places were like
Wait, listed or what?
closed,
Oh, okay.
or yeah, like full listed and closed. So we ended up just going to fuck. Uh, what's that one? We ended up going to name some K barbecue spots. I
Uh,
forgot the name already.
Keypot
Jen.
Jen.
We went to Jen. We went
Okay.
to Jen.
Oh man, was it the day you hit me up like
Yeah,
spontaneously?
it was that day. It was spontaneous as fuck.
Oh shoot. Okay, got
Yeah.
it, got it. Wow, I missed out. Very nice. Okay, so what would you consider as your favorite memory or favorite stream from Twitch so far?
So my favorite memory or stream. So it's just because this is gonna be forever, probably one of my most memorable moments. I have
Mm-hmm.
a few, but we could touch up on it. Like, I've made pretty good friends with like a few bigger streamers, like Cinderkinder and Tokabi and them, and they've rated me. I'm pretty nervous with like 5 people in my chat, and they've rated me with like 200.
Oh shoot.
And then there was one time where recently that Jess rated me. She rated me with like 150. And for some reason though, the number jumped up to 275.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like shaking. Cause I was like, bro, what the fuck am I supposed to do? Um
Yeah.
so those are like memorable moments. Um they always, I always sing for them because I don't know why, even though I'm bad, people enjoy it.
You're
Um,
not bad.
but the most memorable moment would be one of our drinking streams. Me, Trevor, Dan, Dre. We were all drinking. Lily was there. Christina was there. Gabe was there. Um, he doesn't really want his name out there, but the reason for my PC right now, he donated
Oh,
me
yeah.
he donated me $1,000, and that's gonna be like forever grateful that he did that for me, because without that, like right now, I could do so much more now,
Mm-hmm.
and like stream quality has gotten better, all that. So like that's probably like the number one thing for sure right now.
It's amazing.
Especially, like for somebody that, like I said, came up from like not getting too much, but like getting as much as possible. Like he doing that is like out of this world to me. Like that's somebody that would just do that.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of crazy.
Okay, so let's talk about the flip side. Have you ever dealt with any trolls or hate? And if so, how did you handle the situation?
Those are hates. Honestly, I don't really deal with it too much, just cause I don't really got time for that. Like I'll either just like go along with it, cause like you're you're just saying words literally, like you know, either that or you just quick ban them.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like I tell people all the time, if somebody what is this one person you banning is gonna affect you? Like, don't be afraid of bad people, you know? Like, they're just a troll. Even if it's somebody that's following you, if they're doing the wrong things and if you warn them, and they're still not listening, uh, you don't need that in your life, No negativity is needed, really.
Yeah.
Other than that, yeah, like nothing really too bad. Um, just because like I said, I'm not a person to really like want to deal with this, so I'll just ban them or something.
Mm-hmm. Talk about the impact that Twitch has on your life. Like, what would you do? What would you be doing without it?
If I wasn't on Twitch, man, that's a good question. So actually, my life before quarantine, before
Mm-hmm.
COVID, I wasn't on Twitch at all. Like literally, maybe I've watched one streamer. Um, I all I did was work, go to the gym. I was going to the gym 5 days a week, 4 hours a day, Monday through Friday, from 8 p.m. to 1 a.m. around there. Like
Jeez.
we would leave by 1,
You playing
the
basketball
latest.
too, or what?
Uh, we would play basketball for 2 hours, then I would lift and then do
Mm-hmm.
core.
Got it.
Um, I lost a lot of weight. It was like 3-4 months. I lost about 50 to 60 pounds in 3-4 months.
Wow.
Um, but COVID hit, and I kind of just like was like lost motivation, and was just like going back to playing games, because I kind of stopped. Like I stopped playing games at that time. Like I didn't stop, but like I barely was playing games anymore,
Mm-hmm.
because I was just work, come home, eat, go to the gym, and then like I was like I might be still pretty big now, but I got way bigger before I started losing weight. I was like out of this world, out of shape.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I've definitely gained some of it back since quarantine, because I kind of stopped. I just been playing games on Twitch, working, eating good. Um, but without Twitch right now at this moment, I'd probably be doing the same thing. Just just probably more games than I was before. So it would probably be like work, games, work, and gym.
Yeah.
But right now I'm focused a lot on, I'm on Twitch a lot, playing games a lot, and then work.
Mm-hmm. So it's done a lot for you for sure.
Hmm.
Okay, so what are the plans if you hit like a 1K milestone?
Um, I haven't thought too far into it,
Mm-hmm.
but if I do hit 1K, um, just like everyone else, probably some kind of subathon, like a 24 maybe,
Mm-hmm.
something to celebrate. Um, that's like the only thing I really have in mind, to be honest. Maybe another merch drop, like a more a general one with a website,
Yeah.
because probably be more easy. Because right now with all my merch, I do everything from home. Like I order the stuff from the person that helps me make it. Like I have a specific person.
Mm-hmm.
He makes it for me. He ships it to me, and then people order straight off my DMs, and I ship it out literally all by myself.
Wow.
So if I do hit 1K, maybe I'll probably actually like use a website and have like like how Streamlabs and Stream Elements have that store that you could use. I'll probably just like use that instead with my logo and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so what advice would you give to those who are trying to grow on Twitch or are just starting out?
Uh, my advice is it does not matter how much you stream, because if you're streaming a lot and not getting numbers, you can't really get too much. It's really about putting yourself out there, and that doesn't mean going to people's Twitch channels and chats and be like, follow me, I'm streaming, because that's like the worst way to go about it. Um, how I really started, like genuinely, I made friends.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't, a lot of people, I didn't tell nobody I streamed. I didn't tell, like, I didn't, like a lot of people I met on Twitch, I didn't tell them I streamed. I didn't tell them, like, I'm a streamer. I didn't tell them to follow me. I didn't tell them to follow me back. I just made friends. And a lot of people today, like still to this day, a lot of people I follow don't even know that I've been streaming, and I'm like we're just like I'm just friends with them in their chat. Um, I say the biggest way really is like that to make genuine friendships, or the best way is to grow on with your other social media outputs. So like put yourself out there on Instagram, your TikToks, your Twitter, your Snapchats, your friends. Make sure your friends are coming to support your IRL friends are coming to support you. Um, you know, with your Instagram posts, your Twitter posts, have some, your friends share them. Don't make them share them. Just be like, hey, can you share this type thing? Um, but I say, from my own experience, really is just I made genuine friendships, and they've been supporting me a lot. After they find out that I'm streaming too, or like trying to grow,
Mm-hmm.
they show me a lot of love.
Awesome. All right, let's talk a bit about Mike.
Mike,
How'd you meet this guy, and
um,
what are you able to say about him?
me and Mike met years ago. Um, honestly, but we never was like good friends. Like we just knew each other, like literally just acquaintances type
Mm-hmm.
thing. Um, I used to be a big vapor, like big vape mods and like vape tricks, and like did vines with vape stuff. Yes, Vine, guys. That's how back then. And we would he had a brand, and they made vape juice, and I met him from buying vape juice off him, literally.
Wow.
Um, other than that, we didn't really talk like that. We didn't really, we weren't really like that good of friends.
Mm-hmm.
But one day, I was chilling in one of my streamer friends' chats. Um, Christy, she's a bigger streamer.
Mm-hmm.
I'm chilling in there a lot because me and her have made good friends. She's actually given me permanent VIP, and I'm kind of surprised because she's a big streamer. I can't believe I'm a VIP in there. But I just be chilling in there. And One time Mike showed up, right?
Uh-huh.
Mike showed up and was like, "Are you the MienPanda from SAC?" And I'm like, that's like the only Mike Easy I know is there's only one. I was like, yeah, I think I know you. And he followed me that day. He followed me that day, and after that, like he's been chilling in my chat. He got into Discord with me. He's been meeting a lot of people. Uh, he's been meeting a lot of mutuals. So like he's been chilling in on Twitch with us. He's our friends. We're
Hmm.
just friends now.
How would you describe his personality, and does Kevin Nguyen fit him? His description.
Nah, he's definitely not a Kevin the Win. I'm gonna tell you right now, he's actually very shy. If you guys didn't know yet, but with like, with like, I want to say like with me, he's not too shy at all. Just because
Hmm.
like, we've been kicking it pretty often, but like, um, he definitely has those corny jokes.
Ah, yeah. Okay.
But yeah,
Being
he's
Mike.
definitely shy though.
Okay. Nice, nice. I could have met this guy. That's crazy.
You could have met him.
Yeah, one
Could
day,
have
one
met
day.
him. It's I will come back soon.
Okay. Bring that man. Yeah. Okay, last few questions for in regards to Twitch specifically.
Hmm.
So, what's it like being famous?
It's funny that a lot of people say that. Like, um,
Yeah, it's a hard
I
one to
don't
answer, huh?
like. I don't see myself as famous. That's the thing. Like at all. Like I still see myself as like a super small streamer. I see like the people that like I call people famous. It's kind of a joke right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm pretty sure you know that. But it's like people that's famous to me is like people with check marks or like people that uh could get more than 50 to 70 followings on their own without raids. Like those people, like I see them as famous, and I definitely have some friends that are up there,
Yeah.
but I don't see myself there at all. Like I do know a few people. I do know a good amount of people now on Twitch, and like I've made, like I said, for me, it's just making genuine friends. Um,
Mm-hmm.
like I'm gonna tell, like if I'm being real, like I said, I do want to grow as a content creator. Like I want to take this serious. So like me making genuine friends is a good thing because I do want to grow. Like looking at numbers, maybe not the best thing for a person to do, but I do look at numbers sometimes because I want to grow.
Yeah.
Um, but like it definitely starts with me just really making genuine friendships, and and I know numbers will come as long as I just put in work and do what I do.
Mm-hmm.
It'll come.
For sure, man. Nice. Okay, last question. I'm not expecting anything, honestly, but you could be an open book if you want. I asked Dan this, do you have any Twitch crushes? But if not, who would you find as attractive?
So, like I said, you don't really know her, but her name is Peasy.
Mm-hmm.
We are very close to each other, and she is probably the one, my Twitch crush.
Okay, cool. I guess we could just leave it at that. That was actually a quick answer.
That man
Alright.
Dan had like seven.
Yeah.
I mean, like, just people that I find really cool and like
Mm-hmm.
attracted to is like if you want me to go into it more, like
Oh yeah, of
you
course.
like me and Ian, like we've gotten really close. He's very cool. You know, I find her as a person that's very cool, like chill.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like she's somebody that I talk to pretty often. I remember, I don't know if you remember, but like during Cindy's stream, I was like, you know, I don't really look at nobody in that way until like, you know, we're close. Like I don't really just, you know, um, I just find everybody as a friend first,
Yeah.
cause so uh like all these people are just good friends. A lot of people, they're just people that I talk to pretty often outside of Twitch. So I talked to PZ the most. I talk to Ian a lot now. Uh, she's there for me a lot. I talk to Emily pretty good amount now too. Mm, other than those three, there's not many people that I talk to. So
Mm-hmm.
it's mostly those three.
Okay. Let's talk a bit about Valorant since you play
Mhm.
Valorant. Favorite agent and worst agent in the game.
Worst agent in the game is Breach. My favorite. My favorite or like who I play the most?
You
Or
could
like is
do.
that the same question?
Well, let's do your favorite and who you think's the best.
Okay. For the person I play the most, kind of my favorite is I play a lot of Killjoy and Sage. Just because I play a lot of Killjoy and Sage. Um if I had a choice, my favorite is Reyna. I find like she's the best agent in the game,
Okay.
Reyna. And then other than that, I say if we got to go into it more, the most useful agent to me is Brimstone.
Mm-hmm.
And those are like the only four agents that I play.
Got it. Um, let's do best gun in the game and worst.
Worst gun is the Bucky, for sure. Nope, the Stinger. I can't get a kill with the Stinger for my life. I can't get a single kill with that gun.
Uh-huh.
Um, the best gun I am definitely now a Phantom player.
Phantom, okay.
But like for me, I go back and forth from the Vandal and the Phantom, depending on the situation, the map, who I'm playing, if I'm on offense or defense. Um, but I would say Phantom Supremacy.
Mhm. Okay, rank your maps from favorite to least favorite.
My favorite map is Ascent.
Okay.
Um, People's gonna hate me for this, but I enjoy Icebox.
I don't think they'll hate
Um,
you for that.
some people hate that map with a passion.
Uh-huh, okay.
I do. I don't know what it is about that map, but I do good in Icebox. Like no matter what, like I don't know why, but I'm good at that map.
Mm-hmm.
Um, uh, Haven and what's the one with the teleporters?
Bind.
Haven and Bind are like tied for the middle of the pack of the maps.
Okay.
Um,
Then Breeze Fracture.
Breeze, Breeze over Fracture,
Okay.
and then Fracture last for sure.
That's crazy.
I actually got my first ace on Fracture the other night.
Your first?
No, my first
Oh,
Fracture
like in
ace.
general.
Yeah.
Okay. I
No,
was like,
I
what?
had. If I
I
had
was like,
to
you're
count,
correct.
if I had to
Gosh.
count, uh, maybe I had a good 15 or 20 aces that I
Let's
could
go.
remember.
Yeah, that's crazy. Your list is the exact same as Hunter Sati's.
Yeah.
Exact same order.
Like, but then like sometimes though, like Breeze, I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes I do be enjoying Breeze. I'm not
Mhm.
gonna lie. So sometimes it could go third.
Oh, it could jump.
So yeah, it could jump all the way up
Gosh.
because I don't Haven and Bind. I have hate love relationships with both of them.
Mhm.
Those two maps. I have a hate and love with them for sure. But Fracture, yeah, you could throw that map away.
Okay, we're coming down to the end with the random questions. And as I ask these questions, you guys could ask your own questions for Matt to answer. So let's start with what are your biggest pet peeves?
Pet peeves. I want to say when people smack their lips when they eat. Um, that's probably the biggest one. Uh, Slow drivers.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna lie, it irks my nerves. Um, those are the main ones I could think of off the top of my head.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Greatest fear.
Greatest fear. Uh, I have a fear of a few things. I have fear of heights. I know that's kind of weird. Like
Common.
well, yeah, common. And I do have a fear of death for sure.
Okay.
Like, um, I think that's like what stopped me from ending my own life back then. It's
Mm-hmm.
like I was afraid to leave the earth for sure, even though like I wanted to leave. I wanted to leave, but I couldn't at the same time.
What would you consider as your greatest trait or skill?
My greatest trait or skill. Uh, being able to be happy in any situation. Like not like happy for reals,
Yeah.
but I can like fake a smile easily. I know how to like, stay in a good mood and like worry about all this stuff like later in life type
Mm-hmm.
stuff. I know how to like forget things and leave it in the past. Um, there's another thing. So like I've told you that I've kind of been in a good amount of like professional settings. So I have a switch. Like I could switch from like being the outside me and like a professional me. Like
Yeah.
how I talk, how I, present myself, all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Greatest accomplishment and greatest failure slash regret.
Accomplishment. Um, that's a hard one. I want to say, like, I know it's not that hard of an accomplishment, but like graduating high school,
Mm-hmm.
just because, like I said, I didn't have nobody to look up to. I didn't have nobody to like help me. Both my parents aren't from here. Uh, so like I had to find my own way. Like I didn't really have nobody to help me with like homework, nobody to like tell me what to do, tell me rights and wrongs, stuff like that. So like I feel like just getting through high school was a pretty big accomplishment for me.
Yeah.
And then biggest regrets, although I said like if I started Twitch earlier, that I wouldn't meet the people I met today. Sometimes I do regret not starting on Twitch earlier
Mm-hmm.
because who knows where I could have been and what I could have been providing for the people around me already.
Yeah. Okay. Last three questions. What was your first impression of me?
Impression of you. Um, I'm gonna tell you the truth. Don't remember.
That's okay.
I just,
That's okay.
uh, I
I
just
like
remember
that.
you. I just remember. I was in a Discord call with Trevor and Dan, and you were doing a podcast, and they just mentioned your name, and I came to follow. That's about all as I remember.
Yeah. Okay, okay. I feel like it was like Marmar's podcast, I think.
No, wait, I knew Marmar was gonna be on here already, so it was before Marmar's.
Before? Okay, okay.
Yeah, because Marmar was the first podcast that I was here for to like listen to, but there was somebody
Mm,
before that I came and followed.
got it.
Yeah.
Nice, for sure. Okay, let's do who are the top 5 streamers that you find yourself watching the most?
Number one is Christy.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Me and her get along very well. And she's pretty chill. I could just hang out in there all the time, and we just like hang out. Honestly, um, I find myself in Misa Michelle's a lot. These are like daytime streamers or like afternoon streamers. I find myself in their two streams pretty often. I'm in Ian's stream a lot. Um, I just be in there. Like me and her gone pretty close, so like me and her vibe. So
Yeah.
I'm in there a lot. Um, let's see. When I can, I'm in Jess's stream a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I've met her a while back, and like I try to like be in there and just kick it there, just because she's cool. She's very nice. So like I try to just hang out in there. Uh, what other streamers? Because there's a lot of streamers that like I'll hang out in,
Yeah.
but like I'm not in there for like very long periods of time.
As
Like
compared to the others, yeah.
like yeah. Um
That's why I like this question.
Let me see. Let me look through my followings real quick.
Damn, I'm gonna be scrolling for days.
I'm not gonna lie, I do follow a lot of people because, like I said, I do try to show love on here. I do show love on Twitch as much as possible. Um,
Not to get exposed.
uh,
No, no, no.
when Hong streams, she usually streams when I'm streaming, but I be in there. No
Uh-huh.
cap, I be in there. Um, but like other than that, so like the people that I'm really in there a lot are Christy, Misa Michelle, uh, Ian. Oh, I'm in Toki's a lot. Toki B. I know it's kind of crazy because they're like bigger streamers, but like they've been really good friends to me,
Mm-hmm.
and like they show me so much love. So I like to like just hang out in there. And then
Yeah.
Cindy's Cinder Kinder.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm in their streams a lot. Just because they stream when I'm not streaming. That's like the main reason that I'm in theirs. Um, but other than that, it's like
That's a good reason, yeah.
um I'm in like Summerall's stream. I'm in Jess's stream. I'm in Dan's stream. I'm in your stream. But those five that I named in the top five are like the ones I hang out in just because
Yeah.
they're the ones streaming when I'm not streaming.
Okay, here we go. Last question. So, using your connection, who would you like to see as a future guest on this podcast and why?
We got to see Ian and Jess on here for sure. Jess, because She's grown pretty fast. She's a good friend. She's grown really fast in the amount of time she's streamed. Ian, because she has a lot outside of Twitch, like school wise.
Mm-hmm.
So pretty interesting stories. Um, those would probably be like the main ones that for sure. For bigger streamers, like if we could get like those top 5 streamers that I named, other than I named Ian already, like all of those, they're very cool people. They're bigger streamers, of course. They've all grown very fast, and like I said, they show a lot of love to smaller streamers. Um, so like if I could help get them on here somehow, and they're down for it and have a chance, then for sure, those they're very interesting people, and like they show a lot of love.
Yeah, sounds good. Okay. All right. Well, that's it for the questions. We know what's next to end things. So, guys, if you made it this far, you already know. Matt's gonna sing and perform 3 songs for us. Let's go.
Does anybody else have questions before we start?
Yeah. While he's like prepping and stuff.
I'll be right back. If they ask, I'll come back and answer.
Okay. So we're at about 3 hours and 13 minutes into this. And he has 3 songs for us. And then after that, we're done. Done for this episode. And then I'm just gonna be eating and chilling. Yeah. Alright, so you're getting your songs ready and stuff, right?
Yeah, I'm opening it up.
Okay. While you do that, let me grab my food real quick.
Yes, sir. Why you so amazing? No, why are you so amazing? Yes, nah, I just want to hear him sing. I still like, if I'm being real with everybody, like I've probably said this like before in my own chat. I don't know how surprised I am that you guys really like want me to sing. Cause golly, am I trash? I'm not gonna lie, I still don't even know what songs to do. I have some ideas, but I don't even know. Gentlemen, don't. Got the fresh fade for the podcast today. Nah, I got a haircut like 3 days ago. Or 2 days ago, something like that. I don't think I know that song, do I? I 100% don't know this song. Alright. Uh, Here's some of the songs. I think you guys can see it. Oh, he has it kind of weird. You all the way to Radiant? I wish I was Radiant. We're gonna start with something like, yeah, I'm not gonna lie. He wants me to do 3 songs, guys. 3 of them. Um, 3 songs.
Okay, okay. Wait. Oh. Got it. Alright. Whenever you want to go.
Alright, I'm gonna start off with an easy one.
Okay.
Did you hear it?
Yeah, yeah.
Bucket full of tears,
Baby, know I'm here waiting. Close your precious eyes and just realize I'm still fighting. For you to be with me and sit under this tree and we can watch the sunrise. We can watch the sunrise. Wake up, feel the air that I'm breathing. I can't explain this feeling that I'm feeling. I won't go another day without you. No, it feels like no one's around, but baby, you're wrong. Get rid of the fear, promise that I'm here, I'll never be gone. So baby, come with me and we can fly away and we can watch the stars shine. And baby, you can be my love. Wake up, feel the air that I'm breathing. I can't explain this feeling that I'm feeling. I won't go another day without you, without you. Hold on, I promise it gets brighter. And then it rains, I hold you even tighter. I won't go another day without you, without you. Me tonight. No more games and no more lies. And I know it's right, 'cause of the way you look into my eyes. And when I hold you tight, they disappear. I'm glad you're in my life. Feel the air that I'm breathing. I can't explain this feeling that I'm feeling. I won't go another day without you. Hold on, I promise it gets brighter. And then it rains, I hold you even tighter. I won't go another day without you, without you. I don't want to go another day
without you.
Do you want me to just keep going?
Of course. Good job. Let's go.
Yeah.
Hey, that was just the first one. Oh my. No way you chose this.
Don't go tonight. Stay one more time. Remind me what it's like. And if fall in love one more time, I need you now by my side. It turns me up when you turn me down. It's begging, please, just stick around. I'm sorry, don't leave me. I want you here with me. I know that Your love is gone. I can't breathe. I'm so weak. I know this isn't easy. Don't tell me that your love is gone. That your love is gone. Don't tell me that your love is gone. That your love is gone. I'm sorry, don't leave me. I want you here with me. Don't hold out, your love is gone. I can't breathe, I'm sorry. I know this isn't easy. Don't tell me that your love is gone. That your love is gone. That your love is gone. I can't breathe. I'm so weak. I know this isn't easy. Don't tell me that your love is gone. That your love is gone. Shit.
Oh shit. Let's go!
So you requested this song, so I'm gonna do it, but this is a different version. It's
That's
not
okay.
the.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Oh my god. I did not expect the song you just. Damn, that was crazy. Ooh. Alright, go for it, go for it.
You shout it out, but I can't hear a word you say. I'm talking loud, not saying much. I'm criticized, but all your bullets ricochet. You shoot me down, but I get up. Nothing to lose. Fire away, fire away. Ricochet, you take aim. Fire away, fire away. You shoot me down, but I won't fall. I am titanium. You shoot me down, but I won't fall. I am titanium. Cut me down, but it's you who have further to fall. Ghost town, haunted love. Raise your voice. Sticks and stones may break my bones. I'm talking loud, not saying much. Nothing to lose. Far away, far away. Ricochet, you take your aim. Far away, far away. Shoot me down, but I won't fall. I am titanium. Shoot me down, but I won't fall. I am titanium. I am titanium.
Go! Alright, take it easy, YouTube viewers. See you later.